Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Focus on Liberia on the Marketplace, where we talk everything finance, economics, and business. I am your co-host Gabriel Carter. I am here with my co-host Alex Coffey, and today we have a special guest in here with us today, uh, Ernesto and Putuga, if I may say your name. I know of Ernesto very well. He's a friend of mine, and so he's gonna these guys are gonna be talking to us about blockchain and decentralized finance and how that technology can be used to solve some institutional problems either in Liberia or in Africa as a whole. So um, I've learned a lot from these guys. I've learned a lot from Ernesto from the back end. I know we talk, this they're all techie people. So I've learned a lot from him. And so when he brought the idea, I said this is a great idea to really, get other people to understand uh, what blockchain is and the technology behind it and how it can be used to leverage, to solve some institutional problems. So, guys, welcome to Focus on Liberia. Uh, Alex, I want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself and then, if you have anything to say.
Yeah, Andy much. Thank you, Gabriel. I'd like to welcome Puruga and Due City.
Yes.
So yeah, I you gotta call the local names there. I like the local name, Due City.
Yeah.
Uh, my name is Alex Coffey. I'm on the show here, and let's do this. Let's educate our people on this thing. So I'm up for it.
So,
Welcome,
yeah.
and we welcome our listeners, the people who support our show, people who are watching now, and the people who will comment, as well as those who will watch later. So,
Yeah.
all our people in cyberspace, welcome.
Yeah. So, guys, great to have you guys here. I want to give you guys the chance to introduce yourself for our audience. Ernesto, I think this is your first time probably on Focus on Liberia. Hopefully, it won't be your last time. As I said, we have a great relationship in the back end. I've learned a lot from your tech expertise in this whole blockchain. But welcome. It's great to have you here again. I want you to just introduce yourself for the audience for us, please, sir.
Oh yeah, let me start. So my name is Ernesto Duesidi Herbert. Born and raised in Liberia, and then I actually started off my tech career, at CRS in Cinco, and then I went to Lone Star MTN, where I actually gathered my experiences, in terms of working with technology, and so I worked with Lone Star for a while, and came to the U.S., got a master's in data science, and since then I've been working as a data scientist in the political industry in the U.S. in Washington D.C. So one of the reasons why I got in this area is because we we all have some kind of a we all got to give back to our country, our continents in some way, even if we are successful in our personal career. So
Yeah.
I tend to like research a lot, trying to find solutions for problems that exist. So that's how I came in this arena, researching about blockchain, about cryptocurrency, hearing about Bitcoin. And then I got interested. And as I go down the rabbit hole, I started learning new things and understood some of the benefits and advantages that we can use to solve some problems. So that's how I got here.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. And Mr. Putuga, I think this is probably your second or third time with us. So again, welcome back. So would you please introduce yourself for our audience today?
Thank you so much, brothers, for the opportunity to be here with you all. As you said, I've been here several times. You know, I am Putugal Takwa Finam. Some people know me as Putu or Brother Putu. I'm an artist as well as a revolutionary, visionary communicator. I'm one of the vision bearers behind the movement known as the Liberia Hughes Initiative. And for the last 15 to 20 years, I've been somebody who has always going above and beyond to try to share new information and education with our Liberian people, both at home and abroad, and
Right.
appeal for the Liberian people to come together in unity. And so I'm happy to be here to share, some new insight on the whole blockchain revolution that's going on around the world and how Liberia, and Africa as a whole can benefit from it.
All right. So, Alex, you want to start this off?
Yeah, I mean, so thank you guys. Great background. Innovators and researcher, data scientists, and so forward thinkers for things to come, things that are happening now, and things that are coming in the medium term to the long term. But so, I mean, looking at our topic, blockchain. Why don't we start from a the basic definition? What is blockchain, and probably what is it used for?
So
Right.
let me just give a little bit of I'm trying not to go too technical, so that the viewers can really understand the basics about it. So when they say a blockchain, they're referring to blocks that are connected
Right.
by a chain
Right.
of transactions. So just imagine one block have group of transaction in it, and then you have another block that have another set of group of transaction in it. So you have them connected with each other by some identity that makes the chain stand strong, that you
Right.
cannot be able to change any information in there, because the identity that connects the two block, it makes it like you cannot be able to change any information where it can be permanent. That means that it's impossible to do any kind of change, or
Yeah.
impossible to go in and fix something in there. So that chain connected these blocks. That's what they call blockchain. So why is the blockchain important, and why we discussing this is the fact that with the chain, it brings transparency.
Mhm.
Transparency takes away a lot of things,
Right.
corruption, a lot of other things that we have currently in our institutions. So, for example, before we got live, we had a little talk, and
Yeah.
we were just four of us in our conversation.
Yeah.
So let's assume that we were discussing a national budget, or maybe we were trying to share money
Yeah.
that was given to us, trusted to us.
Mhm.
Now it's just four of us in our conversation.
Mhm.
So think about that, and think about it being live. Now we are live, we are broadcasting, right? So broadcasting, you have one information that is being shared live simultaneously to everybody at the same time, right? Versus you have the same information being shared with just few people. So the difference is the one that is being shared live have transparency.
Yeah.
The one that is being shared with few group of people don't have transparency. We have to trust those people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now the blockchain came about to say that we don't trust, we shouldn't be trusting people like that.
Yeah.
Why don't we have everything live that we can all see
Mhm.
as the transaction goes? Why should we trust a few people that always would not, would not be 100%, you know, wouldn't do the right thing 100% all the time? So
Yeah.
that was the main reason why the technology was brought, into light, and
Right.
that's what we want to tap into, the ability to be able to introduce this new system to our people, where we can be able to take advantage of the transparency of it, and to fight corruption and other institutional problems that we currently have in our system.
Yeah. So that's where
And
the whole decentralizing piece comes in, right? Where it decentralized.
Decentralized.
Yeah.
We,
So
we
and
are we are moving from centralized
right.
to decentralized.
Okay. Portugal, do you want to add to that?
yeah, pretty much I was going to just use those keywords there because blockchain is something that's kind of relatively new. Relatively, I mean, I say that lightly because it has been around for 10, 15 years at least. More people are familiar with the blockchain being applied to cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and Ethereum now. But most people are familiar with the concept of centralized governance versus decentralized governance. And we've reached a point in history, world history, where more and more people have become very, very, let's say, suspicious of centralized authority. And we always have issues where people feel like the government is corrupt, or they're doing things they're not doing right by the people. So this whole blockchain technology actually gives the people, the citizens of any nation, of any group or organization, the opportunity to decentralize that power to
Right.
whereas everybody can see the decisions as they're being made in real time. It's like a public ledger, or
Yeah.
even imagine like a group chat, where if we're all in a group chat and something is said by somebody, everybody can see that that person made the comment and see it in real time. Then somebody comment under it. But the difference with the blockchain versus a group chat is you're not able to erase your comment. You're not able to erase the transaction or anything. Once you make that change, or everybody can see it, is there. So that's kind of the value and the very, very interesting thing about this whole blockchain technology, and how it can be applied to various institutions, whether it's finance, whether it's governing, voting, elections, music, susu, the
Everything.
private sector,
Yeah.
you know. So it's a real, interesting thing.
Okay.
That's
So thank you, and I think that is what I call a very, and thank you guys. And when Alex was saying that for you guys to like break it down in layman's term, I think that was the perfect example. Like you guys did it like the ABC, what I call the ABC version, right? So all of us can understand it. Um, I know this is connected to you guys have a company, right? The Alkebuleum, right? That you guys are working on and building a blockchain technology on there. Do you guys want to talk to us about that and how you guys will use the blockchain technology and merge that with Alkebuleum? What Alkebuleum would like to do with the blockchain technology? You know?
the so unless you want me to jump it off for you, and then you
Yeah, you
come.
can
Yeah,
jump
go
off
ahead,
first.
and then
Uh,
Herbert
Ernesto,
go first.
if the tech expert in this one,
Yeah.
you know, so as I said earlier,
Hmm.
many people are getting to know of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and then even Ethereum.
Yep.
Okay, so the rest of the world, there are many people out there who are getting advanced in the areas of blockchain,
Right.
creating their own blockchains and creating their own cryptocurrencies. Now, the thing about that is that we as Africans, Liberians,
Hmm.
we always say that we are the last to get onto technology. Everything becomes is developed in the developed world, and then it comes or goes to Liberia, and then we're lagging behind. The
Hmm.
rules are all set, it's fully developed. And the problem there is that when some of these technologies or these things are, are made and developed, they're
Hmm.
not always developed and catered for the African experience. Let's in this
Right.
case the Liberian experience.
Right.
So what ends up happening is you have um, technology and innovations that are good in other places, but
Hmm.
are not really so good for your own people.
Yeah. African.
So the African people.
Right.
So what's happening here is that instead of us as Liberians waiting for the innovations of this blockchain to reach a point where it's so advanced and then it's introduced to us by the quote unquote developed world,
Yeah.
why not us create it from the onset, something that is specifically catered for our needs from the onset, and that it will give us, an opportunity to utilize it and to maximize the efficiency for the Liberian people. So here you have Alkebuleum. okay, which is an illusion. Shout out to brother Ernesto here, who is actually like the brainchild behind Alkebuleum. The name comes from Alkebulan, which many experts say that that's the first original name of Africa. The mother continent, Alkebulan. So Alkebuleum will be the world's first Pan African, if you will, blockchain, meaning a blockchain that is designed, is coded, and programmed specifically with the mindset of it benefiting Africa and the African diaspora, as opposed to blockchains that are already out there around the world that are the Western world and the developed world are already using to fit their needs. So Alkebuleum will fit the needs of the Liberian people, the African people, and the African world.
Exactly. I think Puduga just said most of the things I wanted to say. So the reason why we took this journey was because there are other blockchains that exist. We can go and use them. It will still have the same benefits, but it's like the people who create these chains, the founders, they have different intentions. And one of the things that we always see is that, like Microsoft, Facebook, all these companies, they create these things for their people and their environment. And whenever we in Africa, we always just receive it, and then we use it based on whatever we receive. So we in the diaspora that have the opportunity almost equal as everybody else. We tell upon ourselves to, like, get on this technology as soon as it's coming. Try to compete in a way that we can be able to create some innovation that our people can be able to use for their benefit, that we can be able to customize for them, because we all have a different, unique situation. Liberia have a different infrastructure than the US. You cannot apply the same rules to Liberia as compared to the US and other developed nations. So we are customizing, looking at price wise. If you put a transaction on a Bitcoin, the time it would take to process and the amount of money you pay per that transaction, you realize that our people in Africa won't be able to use it that efficiently or like that. So there are a lot of other things that goes with the current blockchain and the technology they're using and the purpose that cannot fit in our current need. So there's a need that we come together, everybody, all our people around the world, to think about what we want to solve and how can the chain solve it. We hang our head together, and then we put it into this blockchain, and then we solve our problems for us, for our purpose. So that was the reason why we created Alkebuleum. And we are very happy that we even had that. Yes, that okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry, I was signaling to Portugal. I think he's
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we're
Yeah,
trying
that's
to
the
get Puduga to landscape his phone.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's the reason why we actually started this, this project.
Right.
And we building a team around it. Like you mentioned, Alkebuleum DAO.
Yeah.
The Alkebuleum DAO is, like you would say, the first decentralized autonomous organization that we're building around the Alkebuleum blockchain that will basically support and develop the blockchain. And the reason why we are creating a decentralized autonomous organization and we're going to work in it is to to experience it, and also to use it as an example, to show our people that we can now work in a new form of organization. We can now work in a new way of of doing business and working that will be more decentralized and autonomous. In a way, we'll have a really, really good transparency, and I can tell you for a fact, corruption will hide itself, because people you cannot. It's like you cannot steal anymore. That's how it's gonna be. And one of the things that will really help with is wasteful resource waste.
Yeah.
We can be able to, like, manage our resources much better. We can be able to account for every penny that our project supposed to have.
Yeah.
And that's the goal, and that's the advantages this chain have. Other blockchains, will have different focus, because they don't have the same problem that we have in their countries. They may be thinking about making more money, capitalism. They may be thinking about bypassing the banking system. Like
Yep.
Bitcoin, that's the purpose of Bitcoin,
Yep.
like bypass the banking systems so they can be able to do peer-to-peer transactions.
Yep.
But for us, our purpose is different. So that's the reason why
Mhm.
we have to use our own minds to create our own solutions.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for people from outside to come create a solution for us. So that's I will stop there for now.
Okay.
So the I know we'll come to from the line of work that I do, we'll come to the risk and all that stuff and the compatibility with our own situation. You sort of kind of alluded to some of that, Ernesto. But so let's put this in context, right? The meaning of all this and how it works for our people. Um, and you made a great point by saying that we got to start from somewhere. I was living and working in Ghana when the guy who is the current minister of finance for Ghana, he and two other guys started what they call the data bank. Young guys at that time um, started that kind of operation, right? And it went as a bigger bank, right? I know the environment was created for people to thrive, so young Ghanaians were able to do stuff like that. That's just one example. And today the guy is finance minister. They did well so much. Um, so my question then is, what baby steps? Because if you talk about government transparency and other stuff, it's probably going to be somewhere down the line. But in the meantime, what baby steps can what's the name of the company? Alkebuleum?
Yes.
Alkebuleum. Yeah.
Yeah, Alkebuleum or young Liberians. I mean, whether young old, Liberians can start. Where would the revolution start? For example, are you going to start with um, using this technology to capture transaction in Liberia, for example, transfers to Liberia, or companies doing business in Liberia, and they can use this? What baby steps are you gonna propose to start before you even get to government transparency and all that stuff?
Okay, I will just say and then put it again, like you can like support me on that. So the plans that we have to start, we want to like create um like an ecosystem,
Hmm.
a basic ecosystem, in the sense that organizations and individuals and people that can use the benefit of the chain, right? Whether government is involved or not, it doesn't matter at this stage, but we
Hmm.
want to create an environment where people can start using it in the meantime. So what we're doing parallel to the chain is we're building a social platform
Hmm.
that we can be able to set up. People can be able to go there and you create your account, you socialize, interact with the news of the day, or the basic things that we do on social media.
Hmm.
But most importantly, you can be able to create your DAO, which means a decentralized autonomous organization.
Hmm.
And what that will do for people is just imagine if you have your little organization now, and because of somebody, let's say Susu or whatever it is, and trust is a problem, which is a main problem in our country, in almost all organizations, even the diaspora, in the Liberian communities, when they're having little organizations, trust.
Yeah.
You can utilize that platform, create an organization on it. And then in the platform, every member of the organization will work in that platform in a decentralized format, basically. So that's the first step, right? We'll be targeting organizations, individuals, and we'll be educating people about the chain because people got to be educated in this area. They don't know nothing about, most people don't really know anything about blockchain or even cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Everybody know Bitcoin, that's all they know.
Yeah.
So we got to educate people about it, how to protect themselves because they have security risks
Yeah.
and other things that come with it, and how to like take advantage of it, make use of it, like the DAO system we talk about for organizations, and other things, So the voting process in Liberia and anywhere, that's another target that we
Yeah.
have on our list. It's not now, but very soon. So if you have elections, local or any kind of elections, you have people counting the votes, election commission or decentralized entity
Yeah.
counting votes, and they put it out. We say we trust them, right? But like I said earlier, the simple definition: something going live and something just being a little small group.
Yeah.
If the election results are broadcasted live
Right.
on the blockchain, I mean, there's 100% transparency. We know who wins instantly. You know who you
Right.
vote for, everything.
Right.
So can you can imagine the possibilities that that can come this way. But we're starting from the grassroots first. We're not trying to get to government level that fast. If government see it's necessary to get us on board in the early stage, that would be great for us. But that's not our early target. Our target is to approach the grassroots and try to like navigate from that end. But
So now
put
that
it
you
on.
and also before Pudu comes in, now that you talk about elections, right?
Yeah.
And one of our, I think my proposed tabata for the day, when we say tabata in crew, we mean foolishness, right? Nonsense. My proposed tabata for the day will be the census stuff that is going on, right? But now that you talk about election, how will we use this technology, this blockchain technology, to kind of make the election process or voters registration and things like that very transparent? I say that because my limited understanding of, don't mind me, I say limited, or I just want to make things small. Yeah, well, my limited understanding of blockchain is that it can be equated to a national ID number for individuals. And that's where I say my limited understanding. So how would that work to make the election process, the whole registration process, the whole voting process, the whole transparency in election? How will blockchain help that? Now, I want you to explain that within the context that if this blockchain thing, the same way when they use cryptocurrency and stuff like that, that identifier number, right? How can you capture people, voters, using blockchain to make election process transparent?
So one of the things that we, like I mentioned earlier, the social platform we're creating
Mm-hmm.
is to showcase some of these benefits. So in that platform, there's a voting a portion of it, a function where you can basically go and vote in an election to experiment and see for yourself how it works. You each of the what you might call it, the candidates, they have, like you said, unique identifier. So the blockchain, every person or entity that is connected to it, or any wallet that connected to it, have some identity that identify them. So for each of those candidates, they have their identities, right, or their smart contracts in a
Mm-hmm.
way. So people of the country basically is basically voting for a specific kind of identity, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
send your vote to that identity. So let's consider votes as token, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about each vote is a token. So you have X amount of vote that's supposed to be casted during the election. So the election commission,
So hold on. Let me hold you there. Can you consider blockchain, or can you liken blockchain to a national identity number or a social security number?
yeah,
Can you liken that?
the blockchain technology is the blockchain is really not the number
Okay.
itself.
Okay.
Is more just think about just think about the blockchain as computers. Yeah, just that simple, right? Like
Yeah,
the computer you have right
peer-to-peer
now.
network. It's
Yeah,
computer
peer-to-peer network.
communicating.
Just
Yeah.
think about like the computer you own, the computer I own, the computer all of us own right now. When I send a message now, it goes to all the computers at the same time. Then
Mm-hmm.
you tell me, what do you see? You see one.
Mm-hmm.
What does Gabriel see? One.
Mm-hmm.
Portugal see one. I see one. Then we all see one.
Okay.
So what if somebody say, "Oh, I saw two"? So if four of us agree we saw one, and one person says they saw two, so which one is correct?
The three of us.
One
The
is
majority
correct.
who?
So blockchain decide. That's how the blockchain decide what is right thing and what's the wrong thing. If the
Right.
majority of the people who connected the block agrees that this is what they see, and that's what they see, and we're not just talking about a few people in the room working the election commission or maybe somewhere that run the program or run their thing, talking about the entire body.
Yeah.
making
So
the consensus
what will
decision.
you guys do? What will you guys do? What will this technology? How will you implement that? What will you do? Let's explain that whole thing to me without letting out your business secret or whatever. What will you do to make that peer-to-peer network? What will happen? I will go
Work.
vote, and my vote will enter the peer-to-peer network, and will be one vote. What will happen? What if we
It,
contracted you today?
it broadcasts immediately everywhere in the
Mhm.
world.
As opposed to waiting to
That's
get it counted, right?
right. Immediately in the world, everywhere in the world. The thing is that it cannot be erased.
Yeah.
Two things.
I
It cannot be
understand that, but
erased.
are you going to
Mhm.
set up,
Oh, let me.
the centers, the electoral centers,
Yeah.
and people will go
Put
there,
let's
press the
let's put
machine?
together comment. Let's put together
Yeah,
comment.
put it on comment.
Yeah. And I like that questions that Mr. Coffee is asking because and you got to remember that there's some people who might be watching who are still just getting familiar with this whole concept itself, and we don't want to lose them in that.
Mhm.
Um, so for one thing that we got to remember is say because the way we are explaining it to it is like, whoa, this is something very revolutionary. This is something. Why don't we just jump on it right now? Like this is what we needed ever since,
Mhm.
So you are right if you are believing like if this is your first time hearing it. This is a technology that has the potential to change democracy as we know it, voting, everything. That's these are some of the functions that the blockchain is capable of applying, of executing. So yes, now the thing about it is there has to be a lot of education
Mhm.
about it, and there has to be a lot of campaigning around, just getting people familiar with it and practice before we just jump into something like that.
Mhm.
So the way that the Alkebuleum um, organization or or brand is going to develop,
Yeah.
it's going to be in like phases. It's going to be in phases because it will be. You can't just jump too abrupt in it. And then if you watch the pattern of some other blockchains or even cryptocurrencies, a lot of cryptocurrencies have come and gone
Yeah.
because they were so ambitious. People got excited, they put money into it, then before you know it, you don't hear too much about it. And that's why a lot of people say, oh, it's a scam, which is not a scam.
Mhm.
It's just that people got so excited about the overall potential of it, and they sold it to people. Say, "Oh, y'all invest, y'all put your money in this. It can do this, it can do that," and they did not have the infrastructure or the ability to handle that type of weight when people come and jump into it. So in the way that we are, approaching this, we are very meticulous in it, and interview. We would like to congratulate you that you guys are like the first official entity that we are publicizing this.
Mhm.
But we know that there's going to be a lot of the word is going to spread, the media is going to hear about it, and everything like that. But there is, to your point, Mr. Cuffy, or to your question, um, this is something here that is of the people, and the community pretty much helps to put it together. That's hence the whole decentralized thing.
Right.
It can't just be a few people who just create the way that would work. When you're talking about the national, like the national entity creating that entity, as people get involved with the ecosystem, the DAO. Um, these are things, ideas and things are going to come up, and people with all the questions you're asking, you're going to have the opportunity to contribute to the growth and development of the very thing you're talking about.
Right.
So that as it comes together, you will have confidence in it. It's not something that was given to you the fully developed, and then to come to you and then you're unsure about it. You will have played a role in it.
Yeah.
So right now, our plan is to get as many people involved
Yeah.
and part of the creation and development of it. So as that comes into fruition, we all have confidence in it.
All
And,
right.
and
So I have
sorry,
a
let me just put a one point there real quick, right?
yeah. Yeah.
I
Go ahead.
think just to clarify one important thing, I think I heard the mention of company over and
Right.
over,
Right.
like our company, our brand.
Right.
It's not a company that it's not a traditional company.
Right.
right? This is a new kind of company we have. It's not, nobody own it. I don't own it. He don't own it. Anybody can be part of it. Even you can be in there right now, and you can just take it on to the next level. That's the beauty of it.
You say in
We
the
are
cloud?
we are
The Alkebuleum.
decentralized. We are decentralized. So the,
Right.
the DAO that we're referring to, that basically the organization that runs the chain, is not owned by a person.
Okay.
It's a decentralized organization. So it collects ideas from everybody who contributes. So for example, both of y'all now can be part of the Alkebuleum DAO, and you can bring an idea that we have no idea about, or we didn't think about. And that's the beauty of it. We're not trying to centralize it around people, right? We only sharing the information. We are facilitators when it comes to like getting information out. And there's somebody has to start something, and that's why we started it. But then the stage is going towards is a decentralized stage. So we want like every brain, every person who in Liberia that hearing our voice today, if you have ideas or skills, tech skills, or even communication skills, or even marketing skills, social media skills, you can join this movement now, and we can take it to the next level. Just understand the advantages that it has. You can come in and just add all your ideas towards it. That's how it is. It's a decentralized
Ernesto,
organization.
is there an example of something y'all done?
Oh yeah, we have a we have not done anything in the past, like say, but we have a social app, like I mentioned,
Okay.
that's already done, basically, that would be out 2023 by
Okay.
January or so.
And you guys have
Uh,
a white paper, right? I don't know if you're done with the white
exactly. We
paper.
have a website also.
Right.
It's called Alkebuleum.org.
What
You
is
can
And
go
that?
and the white
What is that thing that's coming up in 23 and 23? What is it intended to do? What is it going to do?
It's like that's the ecosystem. It's a platform where you can start to use the chain. It's a social platform. You get on it like a Facebook, right?
Mhm.
You get on it, you create an account, and while you're on it, you can be able to create your decentralized organization like what we have now. I could be on DAO. You can start to utilize the benefit of the chain. So that's what that platform would do. It's like an entry into using the benefits,
Yeah.
right?
So
So we
if
want to,
I have a company, so if I wanted to do that, what will I
yes,
do? What do you know?
it
Create
will
an
be
account.
simple as going on the app store, download the app, log
Uh-huh.
in, and click the button that say create your
Mhm.
organization. Create organization, pour information, then boom, it's created. Now you can have all your work, almost like a project management interface, like,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
but then you're using the blockchain. Everything is transparent. Everything is based on accuracy. There's no corruption. Everything is very transparent. So that's the
So
benefit.
the accounting services I provide for different companies in Texas, it will be there. People will see the people transaction.
Not even in the app. Everywhere on the internet, you can see your information
Oh,
everywhere on the internet.
the people company that are private company, they want a business to be out there.
Yeah, but that's what we're saying. That's traditional company. Those form of
Mm,
company doesn't work
right.
for setting our environment. That's why we have problems, right? That's what we're bringing change. So when you bring
But they're
change,
not publicly traded
no,
company, and a
no,
private one man owned business or family owned business.
So
They want their accounting record, their
yeah,
profit and stuff to be out there. So I'm just playing the devil's advocate here,
yeah.
though.
I think you did be I think Ernest, I don't know if you understood the question. Is like you as the business person, who creating your own of your business on the blockchain.
Mhm.
right.
The information about that you put in there,
It's what everybody
um
sees.
yeah, the
It's
people
what
who is what people see, and um it's for the purposes of those who let's say who need to see it, and who do, like, let's say for instance, let's just take it back to the government
thank
example.
you, Putu. That's where I was gonna go. If you hadn't gone there, go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
know you're anxious, and I want people to hear anyway. So, you know, so we always hear that, oh, the World Bank give $5 million to the Liberian government for health, or
Right.
oh, the IMF just give $10 million loan to to the Liberian government. You just hear it,
Right.
Mhm.
but
Right.
you don't know or see where the money goes, or see how it
How it
how it
came
was
and
paid
how
and
it's going
everything,
out. Yeah.
how it's going. So just imagine now. So IMF, World Bank give $10 million to the Liberian government. All the people who are part of the Liberian government DAO that is on the blockchain, which are the citizens now, they will see that, okay, the IMF or the World Bank
came in.
give their $5 million to, it will go, you'll be able to see that it went to the exact sector that it said it was going to go. Then not only that, you'll go.
Let the 10 million euros that the Paris, France people should
yeah. So you'll be able to trace it in real time to see, okay, it went from the government, from the IMF or the World Bank to the Liberian government to the ministry, and then where it went after that down to the exact person or institution that it was supposed to go. Right. So that's no more DSA business. So that whole tracking right there is the paper, the brown envelope. The brown envelope that we can hear that we don't, we just hear about it.
Right.
We eliminate that whole brown envelope thing where we can see it in real time.
Great.
In real time.
Okay, good.
Okay.
And just to add to it, right? I think the question you asked about the transparency.
I think now we're lending. Before Ernesto, you come on. I think now we're lending on something. We're lending on the real understanding of what that thing's supposed to do. Yeah, go ahead.
Finish your thought.
So it depends on the organization that want to use the chain, right? How they want to use it, what form of information they want to make transparent, and what they want to keep private, right? Different organization will use the chain for different purpose.
Yes.
So, but you can use it organization level or project level.
Yeah.
Right. So, for example, if like
even marketing level, right?
Marketing level. Again, you can use it for any stage or any level of your organization, right? And you can decide what information to make public or private. Your people that follow you or your organization, if you want to create transparency, then the level of transparency you want to create, that's what you can do.
Good.
But now you are dealing with information that that goes live whenever it's published, basically when it's published to the people who want to see it, basically who's supposed to see it, right? For government level, the citizens have right because to see, right?
Yeah.
For private company level, maybe the board of directors or maybe the company or the shareholders or maybe the those in the company, right? So it depends on who you want to see. But the beauty of this is the project level. If, for example, you have your company or your organization and they're supposed to give you money, $100 million to do a project, now I can track every penny of that money. In the project, you give me a project proposal, you give me a breakdown of where you want to spend the money. This one go, this one go, this one go, this one go there. At the end of the day, I can see live where each of the money went. You understand, right? Do you see the beauty in that?
No, I see it. I see that. Right. That's why I was asking.
So I have a question, and I want to take us to the security aspect of it, right?
No, before Gabriel, before you take us to the security, I think let's hone on this point because that was
wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to take us to the security aspect of it, right?
Okay.
I know you guys have been following the blockchain space, right? Recently, there's been Bankman-Fried, the guy who won FXT, right?
Yeah.
Your boy.
You're right. As of April, he was worth 26 billion, right?
Billion, yes.
As of today, he's worth less than $1 billion. He's probably on the run right now in the Caribbean island. Now, what we're finding out is that there's a possibility that FXT was hacked and they stole, I think, over $100 million from there, right? He stepped down. So given this technology, what thought process have you guys put into how you're going to protect people that will, like, let's say if any transaction being conducted on this, like, have you guys talked about the security aspect of it in terms of protecting people?
So when it comes to that story about the FTX or FXT,
FTX.
I also heard that they took loan.
Yes, he did.
Or they took loan that they couldn't pay back.
Yeah, he did.
So it's like they used the money It's like
Got
people have a bunch of money in your system, and you take the money and use it. So
Mhm.
you see those organizations, some of those organizations that claim to be, in a space, they are not decentralized. They are centralized.
Mhm.
For a person to take a loan,
Mhm.
right, individually, then it's a centralized organization, and that's the
Mhm.
difference between what we're doing, right? We are creating an environment where we can operate in a decentralized format. So if I'm supposed to take a loan, I cannot go and take the loan before anything is approved. There will be a decentralized voting. That's what made
Correct.
the DAO. We vote to make decisions in the DAO. You have to have a vote before budget is approved. You have to have a vote before money is released. You get the point, right? And all of these things, right, is the group as a whole. It's not individual basis.
Mhm.
Most of these organizations, they are basically individuals or centralized individuals that basically run these things.
Mhm.
We trust in them. Basically, they can be good or bad people. We don't know. But in our situation, we don't really care if you're good or bad. The thing is, there will be no way for you to do any kind of criminal act. Okay, I'll leave that one. I'll go to the security aspect of the blockchain itself.
Mhm.
The blockchain have a lot of security risks, and we know about that, especially for the fact that those who introduced the technology and the first few companies behind the technology, they failed. They failed because of security risks. They got hacked and other things.
Mhm.
So we've studied the pattern of the hacking. We studied the different ways people can get hacked. I mean, the companies get hacked, and we saw some patterns. We saw what the wrong they did and what the
Yeah.
wrong some people
Right.
keep doing. So our approach is different. Uh, we have a white paper that we have written that is supposed to be out on the 23rd,
Third.
right? Yeah, 23rd of this month.
Oh, no,
The white paper
December.
is out
December.
of December,
Yeah.
rather, 23rd of December. The white paper will be out. The white paper is a description of the technology that we're introducing and what the benefits in there. It talks about
Including the
security risks
security.
too.
Right.
It talks about how we mitigate that.
Right.
We talk about every different aspect of what we're doing and
Right.
what our solution is about. So one of the things that we focus on mainly was security.
Yeah.
Because you got to understand that we trying to build our technological base,
Yeah.
right? In so doing, we have the first thing we got to put in front is how do we handle security,
Mhm.
right? So if you go to the white paper, you realize that our approach, we have three different steps. We have three different protocols.
Mhm.
The protocols is I'll say software, right?
Yeah.
Three different softwares that we'll be using in the long run. The first software is I don't want to go too much detail into it, but the first software is very secure, 100% very secure.
Right.
The second software is more decentralized in the way that, at that time we have a strong base of knowledge and strong base of technology backing our systems. So we start to be flexible more and more and more. And
Mhm.
as we go in the future, we become more flexible because now we have more grips of the technology and knowledge at that point. So
Okay.
what we're doing is we start off small and we grow big. We start with more security
Mhm.
and less decentralization. And as we grow, we go into more decentralization because we have the tech knowledge to be able to protect the system. So that's
Okay.
that's like the path. That's one of the path we take into like to mitigate security, so that we
Yeah.
want the situation where the system will be so strong enough to withstand any attack
Yeah.
from the early stage to the future stage. Which of course
Yeah.
most companies that have been attacked did not do that.
Yeah.
They went
Mhm.
they went straight in
And
front.
let me add.
Okay.
They went
Let
straight in
me
front. Yeah, go ahead, Fulga.
let me add to that, brother Ernesto. You know, this whole technology, blockchain itself, we got to remember like this is like kind of like the future. It's if a lot of people years ago, maybe a few 5 years ago, they heard about it, they downplayed it, but then as the years go by, you can keep on hearing this blockchain cryptocurrency thing. It's almost like when the internet first hit, people were kind of wary about it, but over time everybody's on the internet.
Mhm.
So what's going on right now is the people who have been in control and like world powers, there's a competition going on right now, amongst them, and where
Yes.
they put their money, in trying to gain an edge over their quote unquote their competition in
Yeah.
this space. So in doing so, there's a lot of rushing. There's a lot of people rushing to say, "Oh, jump and do this, jump and do, and oh, look what we got this." They're trying to outdo each other, and in the process of that, there's mistakes that are being made in it, and not only that, um, because of the kind of relatively, this is like a new thing. This is a
New
new
technology.
space. It's like
Right.
uncharted territory. um as if you look like 50 years down the line, this whole blockchain thing is cybersecurity is a big thing, right?
It is.
um this is going to be like, it's going to change the way that warfare is done, because it's not, even if you look at conventional warfare, traditional warfare, as technology evolves, the way that war it happens, it it changes along the way. People are not using spears anymore like
Right.
hundreds of
Right.
years
Right.
ago. It's different.
It's
So
right.
I say I say that to say that this is why it's so important for Africans to be aware about it. These are things that you want to get your children, your nieces, your nephews, your grandkids to be involved in it, because when we talk about security, you almost look at that as like in the your military.
Yeah.
You want to get skilled coders, skilled programmers who can protect what you are building with their knowledge, with their knowledge, but they will be doing it on behalf of this of the blockchain. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah.
are that's like their nation, that's like their country. So instead of going to the military per se to get the type of training, physical training, which I'm saying, I'm not saying that will become obsolete. I'm not saying that it won't
But
become
that's the new
obsolete.
frontier. Right.
Yeah, but that's the new frontier, and you want to have as many people knowledgeable and participating on that so that they can play a part on the security aspect of the blockchain, of the, in this case, Alkebuleum.
Right.
And it's going to be a consistent thing. It's not going to be just one thing, because as the months and the years go by, you always got to be up to date, just like the military itself. You always
Right.
got to be up to date on how you protect yourself and how you conduct yourself on the world stage. So it's the same thing.
Thank you. Thank you. Alex, you wanted to have a question. I think you wanted to piggyback on the whole politic aspect. So after that, then we can jump into the comment because I think we have a whole bunch of comments.
Yeah,
Uh,
what I was looking at it before you came in, and in fact, it was good that you came in with the security aspect, right? So I was trying to stay within the sphere of the transparency in the governance in our government financial dealings, and then you were most focused on money coming from the World Bank or money coming from the IMF. Now that is one side of it, but I think what I'm gathering there is this whole blockchain process can make our whole financial dealings transparent. For example, even our locally generated revenue process, the way it is laid down now, that blockchain, from my understanding, asking these questions that I'm asking and getting the answer that I'm getting from Ernesto and Putu, I can see that we can even use this blockchain to make our revenue generating process transparent and its expenditure part, right? Um, in that it can prevent things like there is
corruption.
a process where the revenue agency collects the money, is put into the banks, it is swept to the single treasury account at the central bank, and the processes that do the allotment and the money comes from there and is spent. The different organizations spend it, the spending entities spend it, right? And it can prevent things like government official, making a decision that will trigger part of that money, that revenue generating process going somewhere else to another account against what is being set down, right?
Mhm.
Because it is not just only the officials will see it, but the public, the citizen, the owners of these monies, the citizens who have
Mhm.
access to this program, to this different platform through whether the apps or on some website, government website. Because when I worked with GMAP in Liberia, between 2006 and 2009, the whole intention of that program was to make government transaction accountable and transparent. And fast forward 2010, 2011, the whole open budget initiative process was to bring the budget to the people, right? To bring I think during Amara Connor's time, he had he created a dashboard on Broad Street at the corner of Maclean and Broad Street where the people can see it. But this, what I'm looking at, is far more than that.
Yes.
It's far
Like
more than
light
that.
years.
It's way better too.
It's
Light
far
years
more
ahead.
than that.
Right.
Where the transaction, people will see the transaction because of the token, the DAO that you're talking about, that
Yes.
is ingrained in that system, that people will see it real time. And the expenditure portion will see it real time. So one person cannot just make a decision to siphon some of the government revenue against the whole process, or 2 or 3 person can decide to put a percentage of the revenue into another account which they have control over, and that money will now go to the central bank account, which when other people get strong, find out, and they try to dig into and try to audit that process, then it leads to the consequences of their lives and things like that, right? So this is something phenomenal. So I just wanted to clear that out, and I don't know what you guys.
Do you guys have any comment to add to that? And then Larry, I know you joined us late. So Larry's one of the co-hosts here. He's
Larry.
I know you joined us very late.
What's up, man?
Doing? You cool in your area there?
Oh man, I'm a cool person. No, I was about to head outside to go run some errands, and it is kind of cool, a little bit cool for me. But I'm downstairs in the basement, but I'm about to head out, and I saw you guys were having a great conversation.
We're gonna let go the diamond in front of that.
Look, my man, you came here to talk about my. You want to talk about it?
Larry, welcome. I know you joined the conversation.
You guys very cantankerous, My man was sending you back to New Kutan. Yeah.
I know you joined the conversation late. We're talking about blockchain and decentralized finance and how it can be leveraged to solve some of the institutional problem we have, not just in Liberia, but Africa as a whole.
Oh, yeah. Great conversation. And Ernesto, Putu, I respect your knowledge and understanding. And like I told these guys early on, I said, I don't know much about the whole blockchain concept, but I'm always willing to learn something new. And I wanted to throw some questions at you guys. One of the, in any system where you have new technology or anything that deals with finance, you always have situations where people will try to take advantage of they'll try to take advantage of others. Yeah. And this is the reason why in the US, you have so many laws that have been enacted because somebody came, something like even on the finance side, when people came out with CDOs, collateral debt obligations, a lot of people didn't understand it, but they got involved in it. And it was one of the reasons why in 2008, about August of 2008, when Lehman Brothers started to fail, it was because they got involved in things they shouldn't have been involved in. Historically, taking you all the way back to April of 1929 here in the US, when the Great Depression hit. At the end of the Great Depression, new laws came out. Something came out called the Glass-Steagall. Fast forward over to 2001, when WorldCom and all these entities started doing some new type of trading. Right. It led to something called the Sarbanes-Oxley law that every financial institution practices today called SOX. At the end of the financial crisis, the Great Recession, Barney Frank from Massachusetts and Chris Dodd from Connecticut came out with a law that we all know today as the
Dodd-Frank.
The Dodd-Frank financial law.
Right.
So my question is, and I'm looking at it first from the regulatory standpoint, in every system, what is technology, every system, you always need to have some regulatory. You need regulations, plain and simple, because if you don't have regulation, people would take advantage of other people who are ignorant to what's happening. So within the framework of Africa, Liberia, for example, who do you see regulating this technology? Would it be the Ministry of Telecom? I mean, who do you guys see regulating this? And do you think they have the capacity to regulate a platform like this or a technology like this? What do you guys think?
That's a great
Hey,
question.
Brother Ernesto, let me jump on there. You slam dunker with the tech on there. That's
Big tag team, yo.
no, but
You
these
see
are
these
very
guys?
great questions. These are great questions here. So in all the different examples that you gave from the Great Depression or the 2008, 2001, we could even take it to the example of the end of World War II and the creation of the IMF and the World Bank, and then we get to talk about what is it called? When the financial folks met in New York. Anyways, I forget the name of that, but at the
Bretton Woods.
Bretton Woods conference, and everything like that, right? So, at the end of every significant economic crash or ordeal or something like that, and in addition to the evolution of technology, there are new laws and new ways of going about things, right? But in every one of those examples, each time that there were new laws, at a certain point, the people came right back and found a way to take advantage of the laws, and then a new implementation had to come, and then years later, they did it again. All of those cases, a lot of those conferences and a lot of those laws were done in a centralized manner, meaning that the regulatory institution itself was also centralized. Okay, and that method of doing things in a centralized way has been has enabled those people who have wealth to keep their wealth in the hands of those who they wanted the wealth to stay in, from generation to generation, from example to example, from example to example. So I say that to say that those are centralized. So in this case here with the blockchain, the very technology itself is decentralized. So this would not what that would mean is that this is not something here that only a group of a few people would create the laws to regulate that. Okay, this is something that's going to be created largely in part with the people, by the people, and the people can see exactly what's going on in real time. Okay, so the evolution of the whatever this thing is, as let's say as we
Brother
as we
Putu, I
all
hate
get
to
into,
interrupt you. I don't want you to go too far off the tangent, because the people cannot create. The Constitution doesn't give the people the rights to create law. It's the legislators in Liberia that create laws. So I don't want to take you too far off the tangent. So
Well,
it's decentralized, great, but the people cannot create the laws.
let me come in a little bit, right?
okay, go ahead.
When Bitcoin came
All
in,
right, what just to touch on that is that you are right in the way that we have the system, now that we are operating, right? We have a system by which the citizens vote for a certain group of people to make the laws, and we trust, right, that those people are going to make laws that are good for the citizens, and we trust that they are going to follow them. So the difference is that as the blockchain as the blockchain develops, right, it will enable the people who are part of the blockchain. It will enable them to have more transparency in the development of those laws and the enactment of those laws in real time. So it will be a bit different, a lot different than the way that it is right right now that has been in the past. I just leave it on that for
Yeah.
Ernesto to touch on the
No, but before
Let me try to talk to the point of the regulatory. You spoke about government and the constitution, and every country have their own laws. You got to abide by those laws. Granted, that is understood. The reason why Bitcoin was created, the first guy who created the entire process that we're discussing now, when you read the white paper that he created, that he wrote, the intention behind it was to bypass the quote unquote banking system that we have currently today, the system that's put into place. So he created a decentralized system where you don't really need to go through the regular system that we have to be able to transact with somebody. I can send you money directly without a bank have to take the money, get the money to the bank take it, carry it to you in Africa to take down the fee from there, another bank again take another fee from there before it reach you. I can talk to you the way I'm talking to you right now. Why can't I just give my money to you directly right now?
Yeah. So that's what if you were to lend me money using Bitcoins and I don't pay you back? How do you sue me, and which law will be in effect in order for you to prosecute?
But that's how it works now. It's decentralized. Let me try to explain it first. Then you come on 1 minute, okay? It's decentralized. Even the U.S. after Bitcoin and all these cryptocurrencies came out, the U.S. had to create a law to be all regulated, right? Like you said, you're right. Every country will probably create a law to regulate it, right? The regulation, Joe Biden published a regulation concerning cryptocurrency and other things. They did not ban it. They said that it's fine to operate because it's decentralized, not following any rules. The rules it's following is the majority of people on the network decide what is true and what is false. That's the simple rule right there. So if I send you $100, if everybody on the network agree that I send you $100, that's it. You cannot say I didn't send you $100 because everybody agreed. That's the rule, right? It's computer-based technology. Now, the regulation of the country in America here, they have certain kind of rules that safeguard their citizens when it comes to investments, right? CFPB. Liberia will have their own laws and other things. Liberia don't have any regulation yet when it comes to this space, but America have created a regulation. And other few countries have their different regulations. Now, when we are operating not to disobey any law, right? We're going to respect every regulation every country have. But like we said earlier, we are coming from the grassroots. We're not really worried about government regulations. The same way Facebook can operate in Liberia.
Ernesto, I hate to interrupt you, and guys, just bear with me. I'll swing it back to you guys in a second because Telvi is mentioning some great points. And I want to touch on a couple of things real quick, guys. This is important. If you remember the colonial pipeline situation, this is why regulations are so important. And this is why the Biden administration is caught between whether they don't want to overly regulate the blockchain. And bear in mind, I think it's banned in China up to a certain extent, right? You guys can correct me if I'm wrong.
They ban it because the government is creating their own.
Right. So some
companies. I don't think the blockchain is banned. I think the cryptocurrency.
The crypto is actually
there's a difference between the blockchain and the cryptocurrency.
Yeah, correct.
Right.
So here's my thing, and bear with me. Right now, you have a total of 17 entities that are on the SDN list, the Specially Designated Nationals list in Liberia. Right. You have 5 individuals who are on the OFAC, the Office of Foreign Asset Control list, or the list that we call the sanctions list. And you have 12 entities, 12 companies that are on that list. The major concern that the U.S. have with Liberia is because a lot of the entities on that list, they have association or affiliation with Hezbollah. And you guys know Hezbollah is a terrorist or have been labeled a terrorist organization by the United States. So if you have this type of technology where people can move things around, sort of secretive, if you don't have the regulatory framework in place, you may end up creating an environment in Liberia and even parts of Africa where you can have a lot of terrorist organizations doing financing unbeknownst to a lot of the regulatory bodies. Because I don't think our legislators are up to speed for something like this. But it's new technology, so I agree with you, Ernesto. You guys know this stuff in and out. You know it would take time, and you guys would be at the table to help, write the rules and regulations. If you remember the whole situation with Colonial Pipeline, right? Colonial Pipeline. I think it was hackers either in Russia or somewhere that hacked into a Colonial Pipeline's computer system and shut it down. And then eventually they wanted to get paid using cryptocurrency. So it's this kind of concern, and I'm coming from it from a financial and a technology. I work in the office of the Chief Information Officer at the Department of Commerce, right? So I work at that technology level, looking at things like this, right? I also work in the financial sector for almost 30 years as a vice president in an investment bank. So I've seen all this stuff in and out. But I love technology, right? I really, really love technology. And I want to see how we can really use it to actually develop Africa. Because when M-Pesa came out years ago in Kenya, they did something remarkable for Africa. They put Africa on the map. And it was interesting to see M-Pesa being discussed in 60 Minutes back in the 80s. It was something totally unheard of. So I love the technology. I'm not knocking it down or anything. My concern is because I've seen financial irregularities from a kid working in the banking system in the US for so long. People will always take advantage of things that other people really don't understand.
And that's the beauty of the blockchain. You cannot take advantage of it.
No, you
Like
can't.
No.
So let me make a point here. Let me make a point.
I think just because this is a hot topic, and we have to acknowledge that even when Bitcoin first came, a lot of the black market, a lot of people were taking advantage of Bitcoin when it first came on the scene in the early years. That's where people started hearing about it, because it was a way for them to transfer money, without being traced, right? Brother Larry, you're familiar with that, right? And so in going, but what ended up happening is that the people involved who started to see it for what it is, because technology is something that you can either use for good or you can use for bad, right?
That's correct, sir.
So when the group of minds and the group of people who saw it for what it is and started mobilizing and galvanizing it around it to utilize the technology for the better, that's how you started to see it evolve into what it is over the last few years and where it is now. Okay, because it's like, do we not get involved with it because we know the risk with the internet? The internet, you could do, has made it possible for so many people to do crimes and everything like that. But as you said, over a course of time, there are regulations and there are new strategies, new minds that come together to kind of direct things in the way that it needs to go. So that's why, with it being a decentralized platform from the onset, we are even having this conversation before the even white paper itself has come out, right? That's major. I don't think any of those other entities that have emerged started having public conversations before the white paper itself was put out. So we are inviting the Liberian people, minds like yourself and everybody on here, to be a part of this, to help direct it in a way that it needs to be, so it's safe and secure and it works in the best interest of our people.
Thank you, Puduga.
Yeah.
I think Puduga said it.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
When you came online a little bit late, but we try to explain about the organization that runs or develop or support the system, right? We are not a centralized entity. We don't just make decisions from centralized point of view, right? It's an open organization for anybody to join and give their contribution. Like you now, with all the knowledge you have gained over the years, how can you translate this knowledge in a way that our people can be free from corruption and have transparency? That's the goal. The goal is for us to eliminate all this money being stolen from our country over the years. Every little organization, money being stolen from there, people been stealing money. Now there's a technology that have the power to change that. We need people to come on board with brains, people who have experience like you, myself, and everybody else. Join the Alkebuleum DAO, bring those ideas. How can we tweak it in a way that it can work, that criminals cannot take advantage of it, that we can use it for good instead of bad? Now, when it comes to one of the things I want to speak on, in the US, the regulation they have something called Know Your Customers, right? Most of the blockchain and dApps is applications that uses a blockchain, right? Decentralized applications, right? Most of them, the US government asks them to know their customers, in the sense that when you're on when you're on the blockchain, right, and you just have an ID, there's no name attached to it, right? There's an ID. Then you make transaction. So nobody know who made that transaction, where it's coming from, where it's going, right?
Right.
That's like the anonymous process of the blockchain. But then the US government is saying that we want you to be able to identify a customer. So if you send money from A to B, we want to know who is A and who is B. So now these dApps, the ones that are conforming to their regulation, they are forced to like identify the customer. So if you sign up on their apps, that means that you're giving your information to login and everything else. We on the Alkebuleum blockchain, we are following every regulation of every country that it comes to their regulation. So in the US, where we are right now, when we launch the Alkebuleum blockchain dApps, we're going to make sure that every user that log in, we have basically you log in. That's how you log on Facebook. Your name, everything else is there, so we know your customer. The intention is not to make things anonymous so people can steal money. No, the intention is the bright side. We're looking at eliminating corruption. That's our only purpose. We're not trying to do what Bitcoin is doing. We're not trying to make you launder money across the world. Send money anonymously. No, that's not our intention. So we're not trying to push that agenda of decentralizing. Okay, nobody know who sent this money, right? No, that's not our goal. We're not trying to be competitive with Bitcoin. No, Bitcoin have that area. They can transfer money around. We're not even thinking about money that much. We are thinking about changing institutional systems. That's our focus, not about the money, the cryptocurrency you hear a lot. And what does that? It's not even more cryptocurrency, it's the blockchain technology itself. And that's the focus. How can we be able to trace every penny that we gave a specific organization to carry on a project? That ability for this thing to do it is what we should look at more and work with it so that we can be able to achieve those things. Now, there will be a lot of things around it, like you're saying. Even you go library and you discuss it, there will be so many people who have brains. People who have different ideas. Like, no, this is gonna work. All the different educational views, right? But then those things, that's what been happening in our country over the years. All these bureaucracy just come about just to stall things down and then go back to the regular way of living again.
Yep.
Next 20 years on the same path. No, we the new generation, we thinking differently. And this is the reason why we bring out technology, that we want everybody like you and every other person who have so much knowledge in governance and someone that are in finance to come on board and help us, right? I'm just a tech person. You work in government. He worked grassroots.
Ernesto,
Gabriel working finance, right? Just imagine we all come together, put all these different ideas together. A lawyer said, no, we cannot do this because this will be against the law, right? Then we say, okay, cool. We have a lawyer on board. He spoke, so I cannot speak for the lawyer, right? So that's what we're building. And that's why we call it a decentralized organization. There's nobody own it. I don't own it. He don't own it. Anybody can be part of it. That's the bright side of it. But we are going to be on par with the regulation of every country, because our intention is not to launder money. It's to basically change systems. That's the goal.
That's brilliant. Brilliantly put. If you guys don't have anything else to add, a follow-up comment, I think we should go to the comments in the audience, because we have. I want us to be able to.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, you can go to the comment. Whilst we wind down, we got what, 20, about 11 more minutes to go.
Yeah. So
but I think Putu and Ernesto did a great job answering Larry's concern with regulation. And I mean, just to put a little ice on that cake. Yeah, Larry, I think when it comes to the time, either existing laws will be amended or new laws or regulations will be created altogether. And I can see when you talk about who will administer that kind of law, it could be amendment to our existing revenue and finance law under the LRA. It could be amendment to our Public Financial Management Act, which has to do with all the movement of money and stuff like that. It could fall under the Central Bank of Liberia, or it could be a law that will include all these and regulations that will include all these different institutions working together. So again, it has to be part of our legal system. It has to get its number. It has to gain its number from the legal structure. Will get there, but Ernesto and Putu are right. When that time comes, there will be a need. Once the government embraces it, then the issue of what regulations, what law, and the place that law will fall will be decided at that point.
Perfect. Brilliant. I think I couldn't have said it. You guys couldn't have said it any better. I think when we started the show, you guys like, I think you guys grew into the whole explanation and the different question we threw at you guys. So brilliantly put. I think Larry probably gave you guys the hardest question. So for you to be able to navigate, to be able
No,
to navigate that.
no, but everybody get an area,
Congratulations.
right?
Yeah, Larry gave you guys
Yeah.
the toughest
These
question.
got
I was worried
these are the
about you guys.
innovators.
I was worried about you guys when he asked that
Come
question.
on,
I said,
Gabriel.
man,
Come
how are they
on,
going to
Gabriel.
answer that question? So, I thought you guys were going to fumble. To be
And
honest,
that's why we probably need people like Larry on the DAO
brilliant.
to come and bring
Yeah.
his views, and
Well,
educate us.
let's jump into the comments here. So maybe you guys have there are people that are firing at you guys here. So get ready. Yeah. All right. So let me see. There's a lot of people watching. Yeah. All right. So what do we have here? You said pleasant. I can't. I don't know
Good
what that
evening.
word is. Good. I
Good
think
evening.
good
It's
evening.
a
Good
pleasant
evening.
good
You don't speak
evening.
fluent Ebonics? Good evening. Come on,
It's
man.
a pleasant
I
good evening.
can't.
Good evening. Good
To the
evening.
many listener following Focus on Liberia, watching. Okay, so he's watching from somewhere. Um, um,
Oh, that's my brother.
oh man. Oh yeah, that's the last name on there. Oh man, you guys got a lot of followings. Uh,
Great.
this is a solution for Africa.
I'd like to touch on that when we get chance. Like that solution for Africa
Okay,
when we
so
get.
keep that. Remember that comment.
Mhm.
And then we have governance, finance, education. This is your brother again. Education should be included in your blockchain technology. All right, so I want to find a good comment here. Man, your brother is very popular with the. All right, so let me see here. He said Telvin has this question. She said, "What is DAO?" And I think you guys. I don't know if you guys want to explain that, but I think it was explained. Stop.
Yeah, he was talking
Stop
Yeah,
about
using
I can.
It,
industry
it was
specific
explained
language.
earlier by Ernesto.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it is the DAO is an acronym that means decentralized
Autonomous.
autonomous organization. Let me explain the word autonomous so that people understand it. So decentralized means there's no boss man, right? And everybody on the same level, right? Autonomous means it automatic. When you vote, your vote go automatic. Nobody taking it to the office for you. Anything you
Okay.
do, it automatic. That's what autonomous means. Organization, it means organization. I'm already know that one. So decentralized automatic organization, but the real word, the real meaning is decentralized autonomous organization, or DAO. I hope that is clear. But again, that's exactly what we're here for, to educate the people, because we know that this information is not out there. In the Western world, people know these things, but our people don't know yet. And
And
that's
and
why
that
we're here.
I told you from the beginning.
and, and even not there be other people even in the Western world. Not everybody knows that too.
Exactly,
The
yeah.
people are just learning.
Right.
But a DAO could be, let's say, there is a Liberian community group in DC. They can build their DAO. They can have their DAO, the Liberians of DC DAO. Let's say there's a student group in Liberia, Soup.
Mhm.
Soup can have the Soup DAO, where they take their notes and the infrastructure of like their system or organization, and they just put it on the blockchain, so that way they're doing their activities and business on the blockchain itself. So that's
Okay.
what it is. Anybody can have a DAO.
Okay.
And then you can
All
have a
right.
Liberian government DAO.
Yeah, okay.
Or you can have a specific unit, like say finance ministry, you can have a specific one, whatever it is. It's just like anybody can utilize the system anyway.
Okay. So here's another guy. This comments from YouTube. It says, second, you are using words, but you aren't explaining POAP and how the voting right are earned through task. Um, yeah, I think was this referring to
I think the
Alex's?
POP was the same. It was the same DAO. Maybe the person is pronouncing it differently.
Yeah, I think that's you're right. Because I don't know
I'm,
what
And,
that is. All right.
and and
I'm not
also
sure.
we can't explain everything in this first interview here too. Like some
Right.
elements of it, it will come in time. This is just the introduction.
Right. And you said the white paper is coming out next month, right?
December 23rd.
December
Yep.
23rd. So what will you guys? I'm going off tangent here. Will you guys release it on your site that people can follow and maybe read about it for those who have a lot of follow up questions?
Definitely, definitely. There will be press release, everything out.
Okay.
People will be available.
Oh wow.
We hope to
Okay.
come back as well.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's jump into questions here. Continue. This is your brother. I think this was you said DSP. I think that's your nickname, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Ernesto. Please know that this Liberia, and the only way things can work out is for you to carry on sufficient awareness for months internally. Conduit town hall meetings in the countries, and also have and also all the stakeholders. So I
Conduct.
think he's
He meant
giving
County.
this as a
he meant
community,
conduct.
right?
Yeah,
And
I think what he's saying is something
county.
that we have in the pipeline. Awareness and education is the primary thing for our people.
Right.
You know, they have to understand all the different terms and all the different way of using this.
Okay. So
We,
there's another one for Telvin. She said, do you do risk assessment and test pilot in that environment? How do you know that it will work in Liberia at this time?
If we have Facebook working in Liberia currently, that's all you need, a cell phone to be able to connect to the blockchain. So if people can get on Facebook and interact, then that means you can use the blockchain. You just need to have the education on how to use it and how to not to protect yourself from any external risks. And
You know,
that education is something that we plan on spreading, through what we're doing now and also through many other opportunities. Like, so we ask people to give us opportunity to get on platform and discuss these things. And we also ask people to join us, so they can be more ideas and more brains. Even those are asking the questions, you can join Alkebuleum DAO.
Mhm.
We can give a phone number at the end of the show so anybody can call and join the DAO. It's a decentralized platform. You don't have to come to office in your home and just contribute. It's all for the benefit of Liberia and for institutional change. That's all.
Okay.
no, no,
and
no. Wait. Hang on. Put a question back. What Telvi is saying is important,
she's
right?
she's talking about the testing of it if it will work in a Liberian environment. And to that question specifically, right now what we are doing is doing some soft promotion on a grassroots level in certain communities. Again, in the beginning of this program, share with you the Liberia Hughes movement, which I'm one of the visionaries behind that. We actually have people on ground that are always engaging in not only just healing and reconciliation conversations, but introducing ideas and things like this. So, in fact, right now, today, people are becoming more familiar with the name blockchain, what it means. Small, small. So, there's soft promo going on, and as the white paper is released, there will be there will be times where we have a specific test or pilot done, and we'll have our people on the ground to do tests, for susus, for even the voting application of it. For instance, we could come here on your program, and in the beginning of the program, we could put out a poll, and we have the people to go on the application and do a test of voting right in real time. So by the end of the program, we can do a compare analysis. Those are some of the things we hope to do, and
Mhm.
to build confidence and to get people familiar with this whole endeavor.
In addition to that, we have a social network that I talked about earlier that is supposed to be launched by early 2023.
Mhm.
Through that network, we'll do a lot of testing. People will log on and start to experience the blockchain from that end. That's like
Right.
the entryway to it in a very, very social way. You interact whenever you post something or somebody like your post or something like that. You may even get a token for that, a cryptocurrency for that. So all those things, you can create a DAO on there, you can create a little organization on there. You start experiencing it, for your organization, and you see how it works. So after those tests, we'll analyze like what the lady asked. We're gonna assess the risks and everything else from that point on. It's not going to be a fast process. I can tell you for a fact.
Mhm.
We taking our time because we don't want to fail. We don't want to fail, so we're taking our time. We're gonna go through all the steps, and like I said, and I'll keep saying it. We need people. We need
Yeah.
people with brains and ideas to come on board and join us so we can get it to the next level. But these are the steps we have planned already. The app and the grassroots mobilization
And the
that Pooty
web.
just
So
talked about.
I mean, I mean, you're trying to answer that question. That's what she was asking before it work, whether it can work in Liberia or not. Whether because risk is the possibility of something going wrong. and you have to assess that risk to say, okay, whether you have the laws, like Larry asked, whether you have the institutions, whether you have the people, and whether you can eliminate, you can put things in place to make sure that these things and whether what is left, what you're not able to mitigate or you're not able to rule out, how you can work with it so that this thing can work properly. So I think that's the question she's asking right there.
Yeah,
if I can put it as simple as possible.
Yes, and that's exactly why we created this blockchain, to customize it for our people, right? Because you gotta understand there are already other blockchains out there, right? And those blockchains may not work for Liberia. And the reason why we create Alkebuleum is because we want to like hear our people, understand the current technology they have, what can they do. Right now, they're doing mobile money transactions already. They have Facebook working. They have their cell phones working. They have some little bit of electricity and other things working. We understand the limitation they have and what they can do. So what we're gonna do, especially early next year, is doing a lot of testing and working down there to do a lot of experiment. Now, when we do that, we'll get data, we'll analyze the data, understand exactly what is going on. Then we'll know exactly how to customize it. But this blockchain is going to be customized specifically for our people, for African people. So that's exactly what it's made for in the first place.
Okay.
Indeed, you see a comment there about the land.
I want to touch on what. Go ahead, Putu. I wanted to raise something that Yemu was asking over here, but go ahead when you're done. I'll bring it in.
Yeah, the land grab, the land issue, deeds. Definitely, this will revolutionize the whole issue as it relates to disputes over land deeds. Because once the information is put on the blockchain, there will be no disputes. You'll be able to see who owned what before, and there will be no way to dispute that. So again, the blockchain can be applied in every institution, and that's a solution there. That's a problem that, again, the blockchain seeks to address. Just to say, when we say the solution for Africa, right, we will look at historically as the world has evolved and the developed nations have, gone far, right? Often we say it is corruption which holds us back. True, corruption is definitely a problem when it comes to African nations, the third world nations. But at the same time, some of these global institutions themselves have created laws and created situations that have made it difficult for the African nations to compete, on an equal footing. It's almost as if like Africa has to always be perpetually behind and the rest of the world benefit. So this here is finally we have some sort of technology that perhaps we could, if we use our innovation, our creation, our creative minds come together, we could create a equal footing, give us an opportunity to really, operate on the world stage in a more efficient manner.
All right, so we have another comment here. Oh, sorry, Larry.
I wanted to raise this thing, and the reason why I like what Yemu is asking, it is so important. The question he's asking is twofold. Let me take it first from the ground level.
Can you find Yemu's question?
Is that this question or?
No, this is Yemu's question. But Yemu has been asking this question, and I've been watching it. When you guys first came on, I saw he was posting it in there. I was doing a couple of things. I don't know if anyone answered it, but let me take it in two steps and pose it to the gentleman so they can really think about it. Yeah.
This one?
So,
okay.
So the first thing is you're creating competition. You sort of this environment,
Larry, are you answering Yemu's question? This one?
No, I'm not answering it. I'm rephrasing it and
no, but because Yemu is coming on next Saturday to talk about CB.
He asked a question here. Let's address it. We can talk to that. Let's.
No, it's good. We're gonna talk about itself, but go ahead. CBDC.
Right. So he's talking more about digital currency and all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Because
central bank. You're talking about central bank digital currency.
Digital currency, yeah.
So a digital currency that is going to be controlled by the central bank of Liberia.
Right.
But he's coming next Saturday to explain this stuff. So
no, but it's related.
Trace this question. So here's
related,
I think this is the point he's trying to make. the central bank digital currency is going to be a direct competitor to the work you guys are trying to do. Do you agree with that? Right.
Yep.
So
No, I don't 100% agree with that. It's not going to be a direct competitor. The same way Bitcoin is not going to be a direct competitor. What we're building is not a currency competition.
Right. It's not currency per se, but currency will be embedded somewhere in there. But here's
but let me clarify quick so you understand. It's not focused currency, right?
Correct.
This is currency focused, cryptocurrency focused. Ours is not cryptocurrency focused. We are using the decentralized power of the blockchain. There's a distinction between a blockchain and a currency. What they have here, CBDC, is not a blockchain. It's not a blockchain.
That's
right?
why I said it's twofold. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, let him finish. And
let his question.
No, but Ernesto,
let me ask the question.
No, wait, and Larry, wait. What Yemu is saying.
I think Larry's trying to rephrase the question.
What you are saying today, Ernesto, the CBDC, if what you're talking, the blockchain thing work as I understand it, for the government, your CBDC will be a subset because CBDC will be used to process transaction, will be the money. Right?
Currency.
Instead of using physical money, you will now use the CBDC, the digital currency. Right. So your system will engulf because that's the medium of exchange
that is correct
that the government will be using, which your system will be monitoring.
So let me phrase the question.
Let Larry frame the question.
You initially started off by saying that one of the benefits of what you're trying to do is to reduce or even maybe eliminate corruption.
Right.
In order to accomplish that, the people you need to change the rules and regulations are the people who are benefiting the best from the system. What is in it for them to, and I'm talking about the legislators, what is first in it for them to actually create new regulation to embrace this technology, considering now it's going to kind of get rid of the whole shenanigan and all the corrupt thing they're doing. You know what I mean? It's something that one of the, I can't think of the philosopher's name, but no one would do anything that would actually hurt themselves. So the legislator is not going to do anything that would hurt them. So it's going to be challenging to do that. And to the second part, where Yemu is kind of, where I kind of piggyback off what Yemu is saying is, how is this going to actually flow? And this is the reason why you mentioned that China is actually, banning crypto, because it's going to be a direct competitor to them. This is in some way going to be a direct competitor to the CBDC, right? In some way,
go ahead.
Okay, so the first part is, how do you convince the people who are benefiting from a corrupt system to change the system in order and make it completely transparent? Remember that it's not going to benefit them. And the second part is, how do you eliminate or get rid of some of the competition out there? And I don't know who mentioned it somewhere on the chat, because if you're moving money anywhere in the world today, you're either using SWIFT, Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial System, right? You're using SWIFT, which creates another direct competition. So how do you address that? How do you first address the legislator who are benefiting from a corrupt system? And how do you also address the competition created with a digital currency? Because one final point.
I can answer the first question.
Bear in mind, countries make a ton of money from something called seigniorage, right? Seigniorage, which is the benefit of actually printing currency. It's cheap. It costs pennies. Crane that actually creates the paper where all the currency in central banks around the world is actually printed on, maybe 80-90% of them. These guys, it only cost pennies on the dollar to print currency. You're talking about wiping away all this seigniorage at some point, which is great. So go ahead, guys.
Yeah. In order for
and then Larry, that's Yemu you're talking to right there. So, but the first part of your question can be answered with what? Leadership. If you have that one person at the head of the country,
influence,
who is a change agent, who is a selfless leader, who is a whatever example of presidents in the world that have changed their country, Ghana, Singapore, Rwanda kind of situation, then yes, you can achieve number one. And
Brother
all the
Alex,
other things shall be
Brother
added.
Alex, real quick.
Yes, sir.
Bear in mind, you have 3 branches of government. The legislator can always override a veto. So if the crooks in the legislature decides to collude, they can override a veto. So the president can pass a law down saying, look, we need to kind of be transparent. We need to do this thing. And guys, bear with me.
That the president being giving Brian Envelope that what they been doing nothing they're doing. When
Right.
The president
So,
not to get Brian Envelope,
but they
will not go
understand that
route.
it's beneficial for them to not do it. So they may just collude. And I mean, and I think
but the seniority part you're talking about.
Let the guys answer the question.
Herbert and Putin agreed that
one thing we have
to discuss this stuff, to kick it around, because this is how you come up with solutions for future discussions, and your white paper just have to address this.
I agree. Let me just make a point, right? We've got to understand that when Bitcoin started, people thought it was, a mess. Nobody even had interest in it. Fast forward now, we're talking about 60K, 20K, what amount for one Bitcoin. Talking about the US government, the federal government being interested in this area. It was a big deal that they even have discussion going around about US government central bank digital currency, right? Mm-hmm. The future is this. This is the future. Now we have young Liberians discussing this now at this time. We going to build a blockchain, right, that can benefit our people in Africa, right? But now there's other competition out there who will basically influence our people not to allow us, Liberians, do this because we are not good for anything, right? We're not supposed to be in this space. We're not supposed to be developing technology. We just will be arguing and complaining. That's where they put us, So I said I would say, when we're discussing these things and we have these brains from Liberia bringing these ideas, we should look at the positive side of it first. I understand we have to criticize it whenever the need is, right? But when we look at the positive side, then we'll start thinking positively. Now, the central bank digital currency that the brother is talking about is not in a competition with us. It's a nice idea because we support decentralization. We are not a company. We want everything to go decentralized in the first place. So when they do this, it's in our favor. We don't want them to use our chain at all if they cannot want to use our chain, right? But we want this. We want to promote this. So whatever that is going to do, we will support it. We'll even promote it whenever we have to. But then let me get this thing between the currency and the blockchain. Where is this currency going to be sitting? What blockchain is it going to be sitting on? We don't know yet, right? We don't even know if it's a blockchain or it's a computer that is sitting in their central bank office that they're just going to call a cryptocurrency. Now, that is government bringing something. Even in the US, the citizens that into the space of blockchain do not align with the central bank currency America is talking about. Everybody in the blockchain space, we ask them, they say they know that is not decentralized. That is centralized. Federal government creating blockchain, creating a CBDC is centralized. They can create any amount of cryptocurrency they want to create, right? We are discussing a decentralized platform that is not government owned. We don't even want to be associated with government. We are grassroots, citizen run. This is run by citizens, all African citizens globally. So we'll partner with the regulations. We'll stay in line with regulations, and we'll support everything decentralization. So there's now a competition. This is actually helping us, our vision, because we're now a company. We're not trying to make profit. We are trying to make change. We are like the new form of how you would say revolutionaries, right? Using technology. We are not company.
In addition to that,
Alex has a follow up too, right? I don't know, but go ahead.
I was just going to say that we have to look at history. We have to put this into context, and then we also need to look at the future. Historically, sometimes ideas and technology and things come to us as Liberians, as Africans, and we don't often have the opportunity to direct where exactly is going to go, and what we're doing here with this Alkebuleum here is we are giving us as Liberians, as Africans, the opportunity to be authors of our own destiny, and not always feel that we have to, do this or do that, So this conversation here, blockchain, which is we're looking at solutions, right, for Liberia. It has to be part of a larger conversation where we analyze some of the things that happened in Liberia's past, some ideas, some people often say Tolbert was maybe one of the more progressive. I don't want to use that term, but like forward thinking, presidents, and some ideas that he gave to the people, or that maybe the people did not understand what was going on, and it was moving too fast. But not only that, perhaps there were people around the world who did not want those things to be successful, if you understand what I'm saying. I don't want to go too deep because we need to have other, like a conversation around that so we can understand the scope of this and what's going on, and CBDC, blockchain, Alkebuleum, they can all interact, but we have more control to be a part of something with a decentralized platform.
Yeah.
Alkebuleum.
Thank you. Alex, I don't know if you wanted to add to that.
No,
I think when Larry was...
We talked already.
You're done. Okay. Larry, you want to follow up before I jump to the next comment?
No, go ahead.
No? Okay. All right. So we have Telvin is probably your biggest critic on here, so I just want to let you guys know. She said you have to convince her that you can manage your risk and keep it at a minimum level.
I think we dealt with that in a other
yeah, I'm not hearing that today. I'm not hearing that today. Okay. This is George. He said institution like CB, the Central Bank of Liberia, and the Ministry of Finance that will be their role of regulating Alkebuleum. What would be their role of regulating the Alkebuleum? I think you guys answered that earlier, right?
Like just after that, like in the US, they have the SEC, right? That regulate whenever somebody create a cryptocurrency, especially when you create a cryptocurrency as a equity. That means that you have to report that to the SEC in the US, right? Correct. So there are regulatory bodies in the US that regulate some form of cryptocurrency in the US. And the reason why they do that is for protecting the investors, right? So we already understand all these different regulations, and because we're based in the US and around the world, we are going to conform to every regulation that there is.
Okay. All right. So we have another comment here. So first and foremost, in Liberia's case, we need advancement in our electric grid and improve electronics banking sector.
You're part of your risk assessment there.
But even with the electricity and every other thing that we give out, before they create a budget or create like the beginning of the year to analyze how much they'll make,
right,
you can already pre-understand or know how much the company will make before the year end. Correct. Because there will be pre-populated for each quantification of your product you're putting out there is already populated on the blockchain already. When people access the information, then you know where it's going. There's no way that a penny can be missing from it, because before the year begin, you already had it set 1 million, right, and 1 million at the end of the year. You know what? Everywhere it is. Anybody steal anything, you will know. There's no way to escape the system. And we understand most government won't just accept it like they're quick, because everybody will still want to be eating it, right? Yeah. But that's why we're going from the grassroots. We're not worried about government first. We're going from the grassroots, from down up. So the people will follow us first. And then the government will later on. If the government can come now, that's fine. But later on, we expect in the future the government will come on board. But now, grassroots.
Okay. So we have another comment said, this is from Telvin. As I said, she's probably your biggest critic. Said great technology, but you need to work on your presentation. Presentation skills, selling of the technology, especially data security, is a big issue. Do you guys want to?
I would speak on that.
To her point there is that again, remember, we are having this conversation before you all, the general public, have the opportunity to review the white paper.
Exactly.
So there are elements that we can't even get too deep into or refer to because we're just having a limited time to just share the idea. And there are people who don't really even know what we're talking about. So we have to break
Right.
it down so we don't lose people. So
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
me,
yeah.
when you get the white paper, and you see us in the next one, I'm sure you will be very interested in that conversation.
Yeah, and
Well,
I will
Thank,
extend
you
that
thank,
invitation
thank
to
you,
you guys when you're ready
thank you,
right.
to,
Telvi, for
if
the
you're ready
critique.
to release it, you
Um,
can come on.
For Telvi, right? Telvi, I would like. I think maybe you may have a higher level of understanding about technology. Now, what we came to do here is to explain to the local people, and people who very probably never heard about this before. So we break it down. We try not to go into the jargons and and everything else,
Correct.
and even the technology itself that
Right.
much. We just talk about the benefits and all a few things, right? But what we have a DAO, Akibulon DAO, and if you interested in knowing the details about technology and everything else, we want you to please come and join us or even contact us. We will basically, like, you will have all the information, or you can even contribute to this. So next time we'll come here, you can probably be part of us, and then you can probably be talking about this to the same way, because like we said, this is decentralized. Anybody can be a member, anybody can contribute. That's our position. So you're
Right.
welcome, Telvi.
Yeah. So we have another comment here from Yemo. Actually, it's a question. He said, long term, should we focus more on the public blockchain and the central bank digital currency development? And he also has a follow up one. He said, do you guys think the IMF and World Bank will let the public sector blockchain development develop in the CBD? Development in the CBD is a direct competitor. So those are two questions. Uh, I don't know if you guys want to answer both or take a
I
stab
would
out.
say that once again, some of these questions, they require like there will be better a conversation can be had after the release of the white paper, because there are some things that questions that will be answered in that. But I would say that I would just leave it at this. We are at a time right now where we're in the post-COVID era where different nations and different countries are trying to do what is right for their people. The world is moving away from centralized, and trying to be more decentralized in a sense. um, this we have to explore different avenues and try different things that will benefit our people. If the same thing that it's not working, the old way is not working. So as we do that, all type of questions beyond some of the questions that Yumu here is asking, they will come, and then we can be able to to lend some attention to it, try out different things, and see what works best as Liberians.
Okay. So there's another one from okay. Yeah, this is another one from Telvi. She said, in the future, spell the word and then include acronym. Uh, Alaji. Um, and then there's another one. She said, come back so we can dissect your white paper. She said, if you guys have the white paper, you should come back so she can die. You know
That's
what I
positive.
would do?
That's
What I
positive.
would do, tell
Telvi
me
is
if you're
busy.
watching, if you're still watching, was when these guys release the paper and they're coming back on, we'll send you an invitation to be on the show as well. So
Yeah, in
if
fact,
you
we
would like
sent
to
her,
take that,
Gabriel,
Exactly.
please. Right.
Gabriel, just to let her know, we sent her a request. She should check
Yeah, there
her
you go.
friendship
I think
request.
we sent you a request. So when these guys release the white paper, when they're coming back on, we would like to have you on there since as I said, she's your biggest critic, and like we always say in business, your biggest critics, your most challenging customer can always turn out to be your most loyal customer
Your
if
most
you can
loyal,
win them
yeah.
over. Yeah. So uh, Yemo Kaigan said, please address the central. Oh man, this guy. I think we're having him on next Saturday. He said,
The
please
central
address
bank
the central banking elephant in the room. None of you want to
want
address
to
it.
address that.
Do, do
I mean,
you do you think they will let our financial blockchain market grow when it is direct competition with their digital currency? Let's
But
be
that,
realistic.
but have they started digital currency?
Not at all. No,
Not all.
no country has started
So what's the
digital.
competition here? Demo.
So,
But
Alex,
Yeah.
go ahead, and then you can land, and those guys can answer. I don't know, Larry. Any follow up as well? All right.
No, I'm good.
No, but
La-
I mean, like I said, I mean, I said it in a humorous way, but they, I mean, I keep, there's no competition here, right? Because the digital currency is the digital currency. If the central bank decides to use the central bank digital currency, should they maybe 20, 30 years down the line, I don't know, or 5 years down the line, I don't know, it will be the medium of exchange for moving money from whether it's international financial support, whether it's the same way you use mobile money, right? Where you don't move money, you don't move actual money, you don't go to a store to carry a bunch of cash with you to say I transfer in this money and the person go and get in line in the bank. It comes right on the person's phone by mobile money. I sit here, I play with my phone, I send money to my relatives. So it's the same way government at that higher level will be transacting using the central bank digital currency. What we are saying here about blockchain is the process that make the financial transaction transparent. Is the ledger system for each entity that we call the DAO, the um, digital
decentralized autonomous
decentralized
decentralized
autonomous
autonomous organization.
organization.
organization that is on as part of the blockchain that would transact the business. So, if, for example, the central bank has a digital currency and is part of the blockchain, they will be using their blockchain their digital currency in in transacting their business. So I don't see a competition here. And by that time, and by the way, it has not happened here. So competition should not
It's
happen right
non-existent
Yeah,
right
now.
now.
It's
and let me just
non-existent.
add to it. Man. The currency they're creating is a currency, right? That's just one aspect of what we can do with the blockchain. For example, what can a currency do for Landy that we discussed? It cannot do nothing for Landy. The
Mhm.
blockchain can make Landy unique and be able to track it. That's a different thing, right? So when we talk about money, everybody just think blockchain is money. No, it's just one aspect of it. We have a whole institutional system correction system we discussing here, right? Just forget about money for a second. Forget about that cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. Think about how to eliminate corruption. That's the number one thing that a blockchain can do. So that's what we should start thinking about. Like how do we do grades? How do teachers don't put fake grades out? How do people don't collect bribe at the airport? How do people don't collect bribe X and Y and Z places, right? How do I pay for the land? Then it's for me. That somebody not going to double buy it, right?
Mhm.
How do we do that? That's how the block what the blockchain can do, right? So many other
And,
examples I can give, right? That is just not money.
and again, by even create having such a blockchain, wow, this is an example of us utilizing the blockchain for situations that are near and dear to us as Liberians, as Africans. The blockchain has been introduced to the world, only mainly focusing on the currency,
Mhm.
from Bitcoin. And then Ethereum, added another element, but everybody is just looking at the money. So everybody around the world, on the highest level, it's all about money. But no, because eventually, you know, the blockchain is going to be applied to every area of institution, in all the different sectors. So we need something like this now, if it can help. You know what I mean? If it can help, and so why not explore it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So two more
But here's
comments, and then
let
we'll
me
wrap up.
yeah,
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead,
again,
Larry.
here's my problem, right? Because the we don't really need blockchain for the legislator to show how they voted on certain bills. They just don't publish it, right? Because if we knew how they were voting, we can hold them accountable for that. We don't need blockchain to show how much the government is spending to lobbyists in the US. They just don't publish it. So even if you have blockchain, if they're not willing to publish this information, you're not going to eliminate corruption. You guys agree?
100%. No,
So,
wait, 100% from that aspect, those
right.
areas.
So
Yeah.
the key is actually changing the laws, the rules that saying, look, from now on, we have to use this platform. And again, the people who have to change it are the ones who are benefiting from the system. Again, guys, this is an opportunity to kind of think. I hate using the stupid phrase of outside the box, but it's a way to kind of
Oh, yeah, it's a good
expand
phrase.
the thought process to say, okay. And I think this probably goes back to what Telvi has been saying. How do we sell this stuff out to the people so that people can influence the legislator to actually make this thing work?
So
And
I got a question for you, Miss
question.
Larry. This will help us better understand, right? Let's say, do you think that, let's say 50 years from now, blockchain is going to be more embedded, institutionalized in almost all the nations around the world?
I would predict that, first of all, even though digital currency is built on the blockchain platform, I don't think paper currency is going to go away, even with the advent of digital currency. That's not going to go away, right? 50 years from now, blockchain it will be around, but it will be regulated. I know you were looking at a decentralized system.
Okay.
It will be heavily regulated. And once it starts being regulated, some of the benefits of the blockchain will certainly be undermined. That's what I suspect. Right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you do agree that it's not really going anywhere, that it's going to be here, but it's going to be regulated, right?
Oh, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. The cat is out the bag. It's a great piece of technology. It needs to be around. Absolutely, it's going to be here.
Okay. So I think that from that premise right there, what we can do is like, all right, move forward in how we can direct it in a way where it has the benefits that we seek to have for the people. And
I'm with you on that, and I think that's what this conversation is about.
And that's why I want to come in to clarify our position on this thing. We already know all these things, and like I said, we are starting from the grassroots. I mean, we're not worrying about government institutions that I understand you keep bringing up, like the legislature, the LCS, central bank. We are targeting little organizations, little things, the grassroots. We want people to start to use the chain and start to benefit from it from the low organizations. If you have your low organization in Minnesota that you collect money to send Liberia for a project, when you start to use the chain, when you start realizing that every penny is counted for, then that's good for you, right? We want to spread that. Now, guess what? The American government had to pay attention. I'm talking about the U.S. federal government had to pay attention to a grassroots movement, which is the Bitcoin, right? They had to, because of the reason why the people which have the power, when they started using it, then it brought attention to the government, and that's how it happens. Now, Liberia and most African countries, they watch and they follow suit. Yep. America already accepted the entire thing already we're speaking about. Yep. America is even on the path of creating a central bank currency I was speaking right now. America have allowed blockchain to work in the system. Good. Nigeria have a digital currency currently. Yep. We have countries who have actually legalized Bitcoin as their legal currency currently. Yep. Every major country in the world have a digital currency and they're utilizing the blockchain. Now, we Africans or Liberians, we always want to accept. We don't want to create, right? Because we're afraid that are we good enough to create this stuff, right? That's the question we always ask ourselves, and we question people who look like us too, right? Are you good enough to create this stuff? Do you think you make it, right? But the thing is not about that. The thing is, let the people start using it. The more people that use it, then the government will pay attention, and then what we're doing at.
I'm glad we're having this conversation, Herbert,
right?
And you will kind of appreciate what I'm about to say. Someone who worked in finance for a lot of years. Number one, you have to be careful you don't violate the 1971 Bank Secrecy Act, right? So if people over here are moving money using whatever you say, you're targeting a small group, you got to be careful that the FinCEN, and Alex, you let us know what FinCEN is. You got to make sure that you're not violating federal regulations, even though you think that is peer-to-peer or some sort of direct inter relationship. You got to make sure you're not violating the Bank Secrecy Act. The financial sector is one of the most heavily regulated sector here in the U.S. So if somebody sitting in Minnesota want to send money, it may be doing it on a small scale, and it's not really catching the attention. But bear in mind, the reason why Joe Biden signed the executive order that he did was because they want to stop financial crimes, right? And like I said, there are 17 entities in Liberia that are on the specially designated nationals list. And the reason why, so you don't want to start moving money and the U.S. kind of get a sense of it.
Let me just let you know, right? That's exactly the reason why the white paper will explain to you more in details. We are aware of everything that you're saying. We know all the regulation. We know the U.S. government is on this thing. And we are in power, like I keep telling you. We are in power.
Herbert, if you know about it, why were you saying you want to start doing it?
No.
I think not doing it. We're trying to do the right thing. The right thing is in power with the regulations. That's what I'm saying.
He was saying he was just giving
the regulations.
Absolutely perfect.
You understand, right? It's not illegal. It's all legal with every country laws.
Right.
Nothing above and beyond. You understand, right? Nothing like that. No money laundering. The U.S. requests that you have to know your customer. We have that in place. You understand, right? Everything that is required by every country is embedded in our plan. Period of that, right? The next thing is we're not thinking about this thing. We're not even thinking about money movement that much. The thing I'm trying to get across that maybe we don't understand.
No, Herbert, I understand you first.
It's the use of the chain, transparency.
Right.
It's not about money only.
I know.
That's the focus.
But again, we can even simplify, we can even create transparency in Liberia simply by just setting up a SharePoint site, something basic like that.
Those things I don't want to before. I've been in this space for long. I worked for over 6 years, right? I work with many institutions. I have seen systems. I have seen centralized system working. Let me let you know something. There is no centralized system that cannot be manipulated. Manipulation goes on all levels. Let me let you know.
Hold on. Are you suggesting that the blockchain you're talking about can also be manipulated?
It just happened.
The reason why the blockchain is so good is because it's decentralized. So to manipulate it is much difficult than me on my computer and I change a letter, say E. What if we all have the same information on our computer? When I change E, all of y'all gotta change E to before E is changed, right?
And Ernesto, Larry, he said,
no, I don't want to lose this point. But he said it can be manipulated. Once
you said centralized. Yeah, but you said centralized. Right? Any centralized system can be manipulated. This is a decentralized. So it's a
that's the difference.
Even decentralized system can be manipulated. But
it's very difficult.
But then we have to talk about the whole blockchain, every blockchain that we are talking about. So you can't single out this, to say that, and that's where we say that this thing, what we are doing from studying previous blockchains and cryptocurrencies, right? We are going about it in a much different way. We covered that earlier in the beginning of this interview. I think you weren't on at that time. And we are saying, like, that's why we are introducing it to the people, introducing it to the people to be a part of its growth and development of it, so we can test out things as it goes on. It will be decentralized now. If we were to come to you and say everything is all set, and we come to you and just lay it out to you, we are saying no. We have this idea. We started along with it. The rest of the world is going with it already. Let us hang head together as Liberians and develop it in the way that it needs to be. Okay, so that's the kind of the mindset that we are looking for, to make this thing, and that we need to have in general to make things successful. If the rest of the world we see is already going in that direction, and we see the benefits, right? The same critics that everybody may give on this platform or in general, we can critique it to Bitcoin. We can critique it to Ethereum. We can critique it, but we are the ones who are saying, hey, we are bringing this to our people. Now, if the central bank or whoever around the world say, okay, here, will we critique it the same way? I'm just asking a question. But what we are saying here is the opportunity for us all to come together.
And let me just ask you one question. One question, right? Do you guys see the name on the screen?
Yeah,
I see KYNE. Are you guys see KYNE on the screen?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's how the blockchain works. We all see the same information. We all agree that is correct. Versus I only see this.
Stop right there.
I only see this and I say, Ken's on the screen. Everybody like, oh.
Point. Herbert, here's the point. You see KYNE, I see KYNE.
Right.
How do you know it's correct?
Because I see it.
Because everybody has a digital footprint of it.
Let me answer that question. How do we know it's correct?
Yes.
How many people agree KYNE is on the screen? Put your hands up.
No.
Put your hands up. That's how the black.
My question. My question.
No, but you got. It's simple. It's very simple.
Is how do you know that it's the correct spelling of his name?
No, I ain't talking about asking if it's correct spelling his name. That's not the question.
The point.
I'm saying what are you seeing?
The information is correct.
No. I'm saying what are you seeing? That's what I'm asking you. You say you see KYNE, right?
So hold up. So we're starting a Susu. The information on the Susu say everybody has to chip in $1,000 every month.
Right.
At the end of the Susu, everybody will collect so and so amount.
Right.
Someone has to type that information in. What if someone were to manipulate that information and put $100 in there?
That's the thing you cannot do. You see that? That's what I'm trying to explain to you, right? What are you thinking about, right? Let me explain to you now. Let me explain to you, right? You are thinking traditional systems. That's the reason why because we understand what the blockchain does, we're not thinking that anymore. Now let me explain that to you technically. Whenever you have a centralized system, a person go in and put in the computer, boom, it logs in the database. I work in database. I was a database person for Lone Star for many years. In the US, I'm a data scientist. Right? So I understand database very well. You enter the data, it goes in the database and it stores in the database. Somebody can go behind you and delete that information or change the number from 1,000 to 2,000. Now, how do we know that the person gave 2,000, 1,000? We only see 2,000, right? That's a centralized system. It can be manipulated anyway. Now, decentralized system is, for example, 5 of us here. 5 of us have 5 different computers. All the 5 different computers share the same information. They are all decentralized, peer-to-peer, right? Meaning that when I tap in my information, do you know where it's going? It's going in my computer first, right? It have not been stored on the blockchain yet. That's not what they call the blockchain, because only my information, my computer, which is just one node, right? One node on the chain. Yeah. Now what happened? That's something called validation. We got to validate the transaction. The chain got to validate the transaction. So what happened is that everybody on the chain got to agree that A send $100 to B. When majority of the nodes on the chain agree that A send $100 to B, then that amount is what stored on the chain. I said stored on the chain. I mean all the computers that's on the chain have the same record. Now you cannot delete it from your computer because 1 million computers have the same thing. Your one computer cannot change 1 million. It's the majority. That's the reason why Bitcoin now have not been hyped yet, because the decentralization of it. Most of these chains that are being hacked, they are centralized, meaning that just one computer doing something. You hack into that one computer, you're good. But if you hack into a blockchain, you hack into one computer, you have to hack into 1 million computers before you can change it. That's the difference. And I understand the reason why you may have this because we all understand centralized system. Even myself, I'm a database person. I deal with a server and client, a database. I sit in there, entry and then deletion, all the different things, select all the things, right? But this is a new technology. It's not the same thing. Even Oracle and all the people that own database system, they are creating blockchain version of it now as I speak to you.
Wow.
Right now, Google now have created for their cloud system, they have created a cloud computing system specifically for blockchain. It's a different kind of computer, right? So what the business that we've been doing all along is centralized business, traditional business. This is a new way. And that's the reason why I understand you got to explain it better. And we now understanding that people will not understand the first time or the second time. We need people that come on board to be able to explain it better. People who have a way to explain technology better. We need those people to come on board. We need educators. We need people like you who understand the government side of it, right? But you cannot. It's not easy to hack in the blockchain. I'll be frank with you. It's not easy.
But notwithstanding,
Herbert,
we are considering all the risks, and that's part of the development of it. So we're not saying anything perfect.
Guys,
I'm not saying it's unhackable, right? I'm saying it's not easy as compared to centralized
I'm
system.
with you guys, I totally agree with you. I'm with you guys. It's not by accident that the work that I do is where I am. I mean, I studied computer science at Baruch. I studied finance. You name the degree, I have it. I work in the system. I teach at the college level, information systems, right? So when you have the third largest IT company that offers services to the United States government, have me working with them. It's not by accident. I understand blockchain. What I think you guys are missing is where, from a financial perspective, from a regulatory perspective, Liberia is highly corrupt. It's not by accident Liberia is highly corrupt. People embedded in the system take advantage of the system. I want us to really think about the regulatory aspect of it. I'm not thinking in terms of centralized system. I understand centralized system. I understand decentralized system. There are instances where the initiation of that first information, the first mover of that information, can put something in there that is wrong. Everybody else may simply acknowledge it. Yemu can simply put in, no, you're shaking your head. Trust me,
that's not how it works. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You don't understand technology.
No,
Larry, you don't understand technology, right? If you understand it,
that way, not with
you
blockchain.
understand it, then you have a different view of it.
Listen,
It's hard to explain if somebody claims to understand something but you don't
are
understand
you
it.
saying that the first mover cannot initially make an error?
So let me.
The first mover, the information is not safe on the blockchain. It has to be validated. Now, if you come, right, Larry? Let me take a scenario of example. You come, right?
Okay.
Put $100, right?
I have to step off, Ernesto.
Let me just give you an example. You put $100. Nobody care whether your $100 is wrong or correct, right?
Right.
Now, what people have in their personal computers or blockchain is your previous account balance. That's what they have, right? They don't have your new transaction information you put it out. So now Larry only have $50. Every computer around the world have $50 for Larry account, right? Now Larry say he about to transfer $100 from his account to somebody in Larry's own computer and having $1,000 there, but the whole world having $50 for Larry. Maybe Larry had a couple of friends that they went and changed it too. Now guess what?
Okay.
You put information out there, it bounced because what? Nobody have a record of you having $1,000. Everybody have a record of you having $50.
All right.
That's how it works. You cannot change the information
I understand.
easily.
I think you're missing.
Can I please say something before
Gabriel, we not pass. Gabriel,
I don't want to keep going in circles.
Gabriel, we not pass our time.
Let me please say something before I'm actually about to step out. I appreciate this platform, and what I would like to say is this: is that I don't believe that we came on this platform to to debate about the development of the long term or everything like that. We just came on here to just kind of share that hey, the world is moving in this direction. Here's our opportunity. We invite all people to come on board and to share ideas because Brother Larry, the very same concerns that you have, right? These are conversations that you can have on in the meetings, or like you can come on, if you were to come on board and inquire. This is not something that we are trying to challenge or this in front of the general public, because it's at the end of the day, I asked you, do you believe that the blockchain is here to stay for a reason? Okay. No. And he said it's here. You said that the blockchain is the future, right? Right, Mr. Larry? Didn't you say that?
Absolutely. It's not going anywhere.
Okay. So if we understand that and we see that the rest of the world is already making gains on that and they're developing it, we are saying that this is an opportunity for us as Liberians to develop this technology for ourselves. we shouldn't be trying to critique it in the way of saying that it cannot work. We should be trying to see of how we can make it work by you bringing some of these ideas behind the scenes, and we can put it, and we can implement it and grow it together. Since you agree,
I'm with you on that. Number one, three things clear. Number one, it's going to be around. Number two, I love technology. I've been doing it since I was a kid. That's how I even got my first job on Wall Street. It was because of technology. And the reason why, the only thing, I'm not criticizing it. What I always like to do is to think, and again, I'm thinking about it from the regulatory aspect. That's all. We just having a conversation. I understand the technology. I'm thinking about it.
You've explained that many times already. That's why I don't understand either.
No, and Ernesto is a question that other people might have. But let me finish the point. There's a reason why the U.S. now is putting additional regulation in place. And I know you guys are kicking around with the regulators. But because we're looking at Africa is a totally different animal, right? It's a totally different animal. What we need to discuss in the future, and again, you guys are right there. You're on the frontier of very new technology that's going to help not only reduce, you cannot eliminate corruption, right? You can minimize it to a level where it doesn't really have the kind of adverse impact it's having now. So you can just reduce it. My only thing is, we need to kind of start having this conversation, and we can take it behind closed doors and kick it around, which is what I love for us to do. Take it behind closed doors, kick it around, to see how can we bring this technology in to actually reduce corruption to a level where when you put $100 in the system, the $100 makes it all the way to the people who really need and benefited. So on the regulatory side is what I'm thinking about. What happened if someone, and I hate when people think that even a decentralized system is infallible. There's no infallible system out there. The fact that you have Russians hackers that could shut down Colonial Pipeline, that could hack into a system and shut down the Colonial Pipeline. And the fact that with the encryption key, the FBI could even break into that cryptocurrency account and retrieve the money from that account. It tells you no system is infallible. I was actually impressed to see the FBI do something like that. People can, in fact, hack into a system. So when people do, how do you prosecute them? That's my whole thing is just saying, and this is something for the future. Let's discuss how do we get some rules and regulations on the books in Liberia or Africa to prosecute people who take advantage of the system. But to think that because we have a decentralized system that is infallible, that's where I think that's what it is. Yeah, then that
Larry,
should be,
right? Let me just
that should be the conversation. Then that can be the conversation there. What I'm saying is that understanding that there are people who are viewing this, right, who may not be as versed as you or some of us on here, right? But the conversation could be like, hey, this is something here that is great, that we are even looking in this direction, but there's some things that we got to look at. Let's see how we build on, so that the people watching here do not get the impression from you, who are with all your credit, with all your expertise, they just throw it away because they're watching, and they take your word highly. Yeah, so that's why it's important for you to clarify and to be able to say, hey, this is something that is good. We need to, let's see how we can work on it like that versus challenging.
You on that.
Let me say something, Larry, right? Let me say something real quick, right? I understand your point, right? Every system in the world or everything we do, they have some loophole. And we all gonna die one day, right? So because we're gonna die one day, so we should just not do nothing on earth. We shouldn't make no effort. Is it because that every system can be have some loophole, so we shouldn't try?
No, we should try to
use it. You understand what I mean, right?
You got my point now. I think you finally got my point. My point is, because a system is not infallible, let's think about a way to try to secure it as much as possible. And even if it's not secure, let's find a way to grab people who are interested in messing it up, and let's find a way to punish them. That's the only thing I'm talking about.
Right. But let me just add this, right? The reason why we're saying this, that is better, even like you say, is it can have gap or whatever, it's way better than what we're using now. It will save us a lot of money. If not 100% revenue, it will save us almost 80 or 90% revenue. It will reduce corruption to a significant amount, right?
Yes.
It's possible it might be temporary in the future or whatever. And we understand that. That's the reason why we need brains to come on board so we can be able to get it to work properly, right? But the benefit that we're looking at is what we motivated by. And that's the motivation.
Let me put it to you in financial terms. Let me. All right. So I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to take off my other hat, and I'm going to say this to you. Here's how I would respond to Larry. I would say, Larry,
thank you.
The benefits far exceeds the risk.
Thank you, Larry.
Of someone coming in and try to hack into this system or try to change something is so minimal that the benefit of reducing corruption.
There you go. There you go.
Remember, Liberia is ranked 176 out of 180 countries, right? And it's not by accident that despite all of the resources we have, we still continue to struggle. But the risk of someone trying to hack into this decentralized system is so minimal that we have to, even if you go into an operation with the best doctor in this world, there is some risk involved in that. But the risk of not doing anything is far greater because you're going to die from that something simple, that curable disease, as opposed to
I'm telling you. Yeah.
So I wasn't trying to kind of knock you guys. I simply was kind of pushing you guys. Bear with me, guys.
Yeah,
I put on my professorial hat. I like give my students help and make them think. And that's
we do understand it's true, because a lot of people out there too might have the same mindset. And it's good you bring it out so that they can, and your response to it too is good. I think what you just said is a good response so that people who have the same, who agreeing with you earlier, can also see what you just said to say, okay, now Larry because it's really not for us, Larry. It's for your grandchildren, our grandchildren, that tomorrow we can say Liberians, not even a government, put ideas together to make a change. And we're not just doing it. We're doing it because we love our country and our people. I can tell you for a fact, I got a good job. I can keep working, making my 100K, whatever it is, and rely myself in Washington, D.C. and sleep. But what benefit will it have for my people back home? So every night I'm thinking about ways or solution for my people, right? And I understand when we bring the solution, the people will counter it. The people will counter it. But we need people like you who know how to de-counter or de-entangle those things to help us translate the information to the people.
When you come from a nuclear town like Alex, you're not being a lot of tabata. You know how to de-counter people.
Yeah. so we're not angry with you, Larry. We are actually happy that you're bringing this thing up, because now we have a good perspective about what kind of resource we need. People like you, other people who have different ways of explaining things to get across. Because we have the same goal. Liberia gotta change. Liberia gotta develop. We have to beat that deal of corruption.
I'll be quiet. My final point. I promise I'll be quiet. I want to touch on this because this is what Telvi, my sister Telvi, have been saying. This is what Yemu, this is what these guys have been saying. They're kind of challenging you guys to really think about all the potential questions you would get hit with. So all you do is you grab it, you go back to the drawing board, and you say, hey, okay, I heard this question before. This is the response to it, And I think Telvi mentioned something about presentation. That's all it is. And I just simplified it by saying the benefits far exceeds the risk, because there is no way Liberia, with all of its resources, Singapore has surpassed the US in terms of GDP per capita. Why? Because like what Alex said early on, we have strong leadership. When Lee Kuan Yew came in, it was that strong leadership that forced people to kind of step in line. So if you have strong leadership, so who you can sell this idea to, it's a winning strategy, because the transparency of it all is what will help reduce the level of corruption in Liberia. And that's what Telvi was suggesting, guys. Let's put together some other presentation. And as you do the rounds with these kind of shows, you will hear these arguments, and you say, you know something? I heard Alex say this. I heard Telvi say this. I heard Yemu. I heard Emmanuel Jackson. I heard Larry say this. I know the response to that. That's all it is. And I mean, I wasn't really knocking it. I was simply trying to challenge you guys to
gentlemen, I got to
put the technology.
Gentlemen,
so I quiet now.
Yeah, gentlemen, I got to hold you out there. We got to end the program. We have another program focusing on
we gotta land.
We got Honorable Larry Youngquist coming on to talk about leges. So we got to go right now.
Okay.
All right. So Ernesto, you have final comment that you want to. tell the
Oh
people.
yeah, we are very young in this space, trying to like do good, right?
Mhm.
So we actually thank you guys for bringing on, bringing us on this platform and letting us to share this information, this knowledge, and we look forward to doing this again. And we encourage people who may have skills to join this organization, so that we can do this together. And we want to let everybody know our goal is just one goal: Liberia development and improvement. I
Mhm.
will start on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right.
And I
Again,
will
we want
keep
to say
my
thank you guys for coming. And if you want to come back for the second time when you when you launch the white paper, or when you finally put this thing out, you're absolutely more than welcome. And thank you for educating us about blockchain technology. Hopefully, you can take away from the comments and feedback and go ahead and embed it into the white paper. But as I said, I know you for a long time. You're one of the brightest dude that I know in tech. So keep innovating, and whenever you guys are ready to come back, just let us know, and we'll be more than willing to to hear the follow up on that again.
thank you,
Thank you
sir.
for joining us. Thank you.
Okay,
All
thanks.
right,
Also want to thank our viewers, in as much as we thank Ernesto and
Puru.
Puru, for coming on, and we went a little bit beyond our time, but again, this was a stimulating conversation. So we thank all our people who made comments, who watched the show, and who will watch it later on. Um, Thank you, Gabriel, for hosting the program. Um, Peace to
Yeah.
everybody.
So as we always say, my man, we're all Liberians, so that's the song we always like to close with. So see you next Saturday. Until next time, ciao.
Okay.
We all be right.